Connected to us around the clock because we are live streaming on fox5atlanta.com, the free Fox local app, and the Fox 5 Radio 1 network at 107.9 HD2 FM. Don't go anywhere because on television, you've got Portia coming up next. Online, you've got the 1 p.m. stream. Stay with us. We'll see you tomorrow. Have a great day.
Conversation on all of our platforms, including Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, and of course, our Fox local platform. We are so glad you're here. We have a lot to get to this afternoon. Let's get to it. We want to start with our top stories right now, including this one out of Oconee County, and it has to do with some bomb threats that were called in via email or put in via email today. The all clear has been given for some students in Oconee County after several schools had to be evacuated this morning following that emailed anonymous bomb threat. Law enforcement is investigating, as you might imagine. You're looking at video from Skyfox 5 as they flew over some of those schools. Students returning to High Shoals Elementary and Oconee County Elementary. Officials say no threats were received at those schools. Also evacuated North Oconee High School and several other schools in that county as because of that anonymous bomb threat that was received via email. Schools will not be dismissed early today, according to officials. They will return to class once the sheriff's office provides an all clear at those schools as well. Obviously a scary situation down the all clear, but we're still waiting on some of those other schools to get that thumbs up that they can return to learning. Another story we're following has to do with a shots fired call outside of a Midtown Atlanta nightclub overnight. Atlanta police are investigating shots fired early this morning in a parking lot outside a busy Midtown club. It happened around 3 o'clock this morning on Crescent Avenue. I'm sure many of you were asleep and did not have to deal with that, but Atlanta police officers were on patrol when an officer saw a man crouched down near a white sedan with a firearm. Officers say the person inside that vehicle pulled out their own weapon, and that's when 35-year-old Frank Watt started shooting toward the car, according to officials. The sedan fled and police stepped in, arresting Watt on the scene. You're obviously looking at video from one of our photojournalists who arrived on scene overnight. Atlanta police checked local hospitals but have not found any gunshot victims, but say they found a number of shell casings at the scene. You can see that officer there investigating using his flashlight, and looks like someone was being put into a police car there. Witnesses tell us they also saw what appeared to be several vehicles that were broken into. Yeah, you can see the glass right there. So obviously that investigation continues at this hour. And so some good news if you're an Atlanta Hawks fan. They have evened up the series in the first round of the NBA Eastern Conference playoffs. The team beat the New York Knicks last night after a nail-biting finish decided by, just get this, 1 point. So if you're not a basketball fan, just 1 point. That's how close this game was. With the series now tied at 1 game apiece, all eyes turn to Atlanta for Game 3 Thursday night. Tip-off is at 7 p.m. at State Farm Arena. I know they held a watch party, so I'm sure everyone who was actually at State Farm Arena last night watching on the Jumbotron had a nail-biter finish. Fantastic that the Atlanta Hawks were able to even up the series, and that Game 3 is going to be here in Atlanta. So I'm sure it's going to be wild in downtown Atlanta for that. So those are some of the stories we're following. We are obviously having a team of reporters scattered throughout the metro area right now, learning more information about stories that we can bring to you later on this afternoon. Let's check in with our assignment manager, Tanya Mendoza. She is standing by at the assignment desk. Tanya, good afternoon to you.
Hi, Tyler. Yes, we have a team of reporters all over the area covering different stories. And let's start off with Aone Map. Aone Map is following up on that big chemical fire that happened over in the Conyers area in 2024 at Biolab. Today, the Georgia Supreme Court was hearing oral arguments. They heard oral arguments regarding this massive 2024 chemical fire that happened at Biolab in Conyers. Residents exposed to toxic chlorine emissions are asking the court to require Biolab to pay for continuous medical monitoring. The 2024 catastrophe forced multi-week evacuations. This ruling will determine if the company is liable for the long-term health tracking of those affected. So Aone Map will break that all down. Biolab still faces several other lawsuits, including a significant challenge from the Rockdale County Commission. That's what Annie's working on, and that was a big deal throughout Metro Atlanta because not only the Rockdale area dealt with that, but we could all kind of see like the smell something or see the smoke in different areas. I know you were out there too, right, Tyler? You covered it.
actually, funny enough, I did not end up out there at any point, but I do remember that day. I was live in downtown Atlanta, and I could see the plume of smoke all the way out on the east side out there. Incredibly scary situation, because obviously for the people who live out there, you just don't know what's in the air. And obviously we come to know that it was a chemical, a chlorine type of chemical. So that's type of thing can be incredibly dangerous inhaling it. And so we've been hearing about concerns about health effects for years now, since the 2024 fire. So, I mean, you can see that plume. If we can take the video, I'm looking at it on the other screen off to the left over there. For one of the shots, you from far away, you can see a big plume going up. This is obviously a shot from their actual their
you
facility.
Can see the haze and smoke.
The haze there. So yeah, you just don't know what's in that. So understandably that everyone is concerned. Yeah, there's the shot right there. That was Skyfox 5 that flew over the scene back in 2024. Incredibly scary there. I know we have another reporter down in Coweta County. I'm assuming it's Doug Evans, since he's always down in that neck of the woods. And he has a good story. Not good in terms of something that we want to tell. Obviously, it's concerning a child groomer.
People need to hear about this because it's a serious conviction involving child exploitation case in that area. So basically, a man by the name of Joshua Allwine was sentenced to 20 years with 19 to serve in confinement and the final year on probation. Basically, this was after an investigation where they found heavy encryption on Allwine's devices to find thousands of images and a 1,000-page manual detailing how to groom and exploit children. So it's just a wild situation. I know that we did, and I don't see the video here, but we did in the past interview investigators when he was first arrested. I think they said he may have been a land surveyor that was originally from Coweta but was living maybe in Peachtree City or something at the time. But anyway, they were flipping through the pages of this manual that he had, and this so really scary. But Coweta prosecutors secured a stiff sentence on 2 counts of child pornography, overcoming old laws that traditionally limited such cases to a single conviction count. So that's a big deal there. Doug Evans is going to have all that information in his report later today.
Yeah, I'm going to be really interested to watch that story when it does air. No one likes to hear a child groomer. Obviously, he's convicted. It'll be interesting to learn more of those details as we hear from him in the later hours of Fox 5 News Live. Let's talk about something else. If you're not interested in that type of hard news, this might be something if you're interested in sports. We have a big game today.
Yeah, that's right. And we're actually going to have Alex Forbes out at Truist Park today doing live weather from the Spring Classic baseball game between UGA and Georgia Tech. So that's going to take place at 7 o'clock tonight. It's hosted at Truist Park. This is the only matchup between the rivals on the diamond this spring. So everybody who wants to head out there, they should. They're going to have some meet and greets with Blooper, Buzz, and I believe Harry Dog. So all the mascots are going to be out there. Access to the 30,000 square foot the Children's Healthcare of Atlanta Park in the left field plaza is going to be open as well. And general admission is $25 with all proceeds, and this is the important part, all proceeds benefiting the Aflac Cancer and Blood Disorder Center at CHOA. So a great game for a good cause.
Yeah, good cause. And honestly, I don't think you could beat the weather today. It's going to be absolutely amazing to play some baseball out there, and a good game for the fans to be able to take in. And as you said, good cause for CHOA.
That's right. And guess what? I have a concert alert. You know, I love talking about concerts.
Yeah, you're going to test me here.
There's a big concert coming, and it was announced today. Karol G is on tour, and she's coming to Atlanta. She's going to be heading to Mercedes-Benz Stadium on September 24th, 2026. And let's do a little Spanish lesson. Tyler, are you ready? Let's try to get you to pronounce the name of the tour, okay?
Okay.
Do you want me to say? You try saying, and then I'll say it correctly.
Okay, so I have it in front of me, so I can at least, because if you were going to pronounce it for me, I was never going to do it. Let's see. Viajando por el mundo tropitor.
That's really good. I'm so proud of you. Yeah,
Viajando
por el mundo tropitor is Karol G's tour title, and she'll be coming here. Why is this a big deal? You know, some people might not know who she is, but she's a huge Latin artist, and she was the first ever woman, female Latina, to headline Coachella, I believe, 2 weeks ago. So that's a big deal, and she's going to have, I think, a 39 stadium North American.
Yep, 39 stadiums,
tour.
North America, South America, and Europe.
Global superstar coming to Atlanta. She's been here before, I think in September of 2023, and maybe once before that, but this is going to be a big deal at the Benz.
Yeah, are you going to go?
I'm pretty sure I'm going to go, and I'm going to take Lily.
What about me?
Well, you can come too.
Okay, as long as you're buying.
Okay.
Tanya, thank you so much for joining us here on Fox 5 News Live at 1 o'clock. Let's take a live look outside right now over Midtown and downtown Atlanta. Look how beautiful that looks. I love the blue skies because this is kind of a change of pace. We were super hot last week. Different records were being broken. 90 degrees, I believe, on Friday, which was the first time we've ever had it that early. Today, though, if you step outside, it's actually feeling pretty nice as long as you're not in the sun. But you know who could talk all about that? My good friend, Fox 5 Storm Team meteorologist Jonathan Stacy, who managed to get taller than me while he was on vacation.
I did. I'm finally growing up. Are you shrinking?
Or maybe, you know, the older I get, the shorter I get. Well, here, wait, let's test it. No? Oh, still taller than you.
Oh my goodness.
How you doing?
This guy, I can't believe you guys are tolerating
missed you.
him for it. It's been a while, but I'm glad to be back, and I'm glad to be back under calm skies because you all got kind of chilly for a little moment.
Yeah, you avoided all the records we were getting last week.
I did, yeah. We were breaking records. 90 degrees, the earliest 90-degree temperature on a calendar year. So yeah, that was pretty unprecedented. Then we took a nice cold dip to start the weekend, and now the numbers are recovering. It's on the backs of high pressure. You can see that big H swirling around just to the south of the mid-Atlantic, and it's going to hang out there for a couple days.
That would be a very long time.
Yeah, it would be a high that would hold its place, but yeah, it's going to stay there for another 48 hours or so, and then gently glide off the eastern seaboard. There's a complex of showers down across the Houston and Dallas metro areas and spots in between. We'll keep our eyes on it because it wants to ride I-10 over the next 24 hours and move eastward, and it may provide some of our southernmost zones with some lower hanging clouds and maybe a passing shower or two. As you can see here, high pressure continues to meander off the coast of the Carolinas in the mid-Atlantic. There's a front that's going to push it out the way, but once again, I'll kind of keep my eyes on that little cluster of benign showers that are located mainly over southern Alabama and the panhandle of Florida. Do they try to sneak across the state line, providing us with a random shower tomorrow? Well, there's a possibility, but I'm not greatly concerned. So unfazed that I'm not even putting it into the forecast. By the time we get to Friday, all eyes will be on what is lurking to the north and to the west because it will set us up for what will be a wet weekend. Certainly to start, maybe even a few rumbles of thunder coming in as early as Saturday morning, continuing throughout the day. More breaks in the activity for Sunday, but Sunday by no measure or means is dry, and that wet trend continues into next week with West Georgia potentially getting up to 2+ inches of rainfall, lesser and lower amounts as you move farther to the east of the Atlanta metro area here in Atlanta by this time next week. Hopefully we can at least put an inch of rain in the rain gauge. It will not deliver us from a drought, but it will maybe a dent is too aggressive, so we'll just say a ding. It will put a ding in the drought. Nonetheless, if we were to take the past 365 days and just see how parched is the ground, we're running a deficit of more than 24 inches in places like Lumpkin County, going all the way up to Gilmer County, even for portions of Cobb, South Fulton, Douglas County, Paulding County, about
24 inches up at the North Georgia mountains. It being dry, flag warnings on Monday and over the weekend. I mean, that could just be a tinderbox for fire.
Oh, it absolutely is, especially with us having low humidity and warmer days. That's the perfect combination. That's what we call fire fuel right there. And so, you know, do we need 24 inches of rainfall that comes over a week? No, we don't. We want to get the numbers down. We don't want to completely go in the opposite direction, especially over a short period of time. But we want to see the dropping of these numbers, especially as we go through the growing season into the month of May. Hopefully we can make some pretty stout gains in terms of bringing some appreciable rainfall to the area. Oftentimes we will show you things like the climate almanac and say, okay, well, we're running a deficit of this for the month, we're running a deficit of this for the year, we're running a deficit of almost 7 inches for the year. Yeah. But keep in mind, we were in a drought last year. Yep. And we rolled in from 2025 to 2026 with the drought. So I like to show this because I think that paints a better picture that encompasses the severity that we're facing in terms of
the Southeast is really doing bad too. We had a story over the weekend. I think it's 90-something% of the Southeast is either in some sort of drought, which is wild.
And the story is far worse as you get into Florida, your home, and even South Georgia. And that's where the heart of Georgia's agricultural economy is.
Cotton, peanuts, yeah.
Peaches.
Peaches, yes, yeah. Of course. How can I forget that?
Yeah, right. So we'll wonder how sweet they'll be. But hopefully we can get in some meaningful rainfall, especially as we close out the month of April going into the month of May. And it all happens this weekend going into next week.
Yeah, it's unfortunate that the weekend's going to kind of be a rainy one.
I know,
but
yeah.
It's necessary.
It's what we want, but not at the time we want it.
I got the pool last weekend and the weekend before that, so I can't really complain.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
And one of the perks of this warm-up, temperatures being above average, this warm, think about if we had high humidity. If the dew points were high, it would be feeling like it's 89 degrees, feeling like it's 90 degrees, but that's not the case here. It is a pure 80, a pure 82, 83, 83 for Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday.
Yeah, it's hard to complain about the work week.
Yeah, you can't.
Really can't.
Yep.
Jonathan, thank you so much for joining us. Always appreciate your expertise. Sure. We still have a lot more ahead here on Fox 5 News Live at 1 o'clock. We're going to be talking all things FIFA and what you need to know. We are less than 2 months away from the first match here in Atlanta. He's going to be busy having to forecast all of it. The good news is they have a kind of a closed stadium. They don't have to worry about the rain if they don't want to. Man. We'll be right back.
Coming to Atlanta in the heart of summer.
We are less than 60 days away now from the 2026 FIFA World Cup here in North America, including Atlanta, and all of the other host cities here in the United States. And if you have not gotten your tickets yet, I have some good news. You were taking a live look at Mercedes-Benz Stadium right now. Obviously, we showed a shot earlier of Midtown and downtown Atlanta. Beautiful weather. It looks fantastic over there. Nothing's happening there right now, but if you are planning to want to try to go to one of the FIFA World Cup matches, one of the 8 here in the Metro Atlanta area, here at Mercedes-Benz Stadium, which will be renamed Atlanta Stadium for the 2026 FIFA World Cup, you have your chance. The last-minute sales phase to feature new tickets will drop tomorrow. So tickets across all 104 matches will be made available for public purchase on FIFA's website at fifa.com/tickets. And that's going to happen at 11 a.m. Eastern time tomorrow. Obviously, it's first come, first serve. So you're going to want to make sure you're at your computer ready to go, being able to grab those tickets for what is available, because obviously we know there's not a whole lot of tickets left, but we're approaching that 50-day countdown. Tomorrow, I guess, the 50-day from the kickoff for that first match. So if you're looking for tickets still and you don't want to pay like the exorbitant prices on resale, tomorrow's your chance. Make sure you log on fifa.com/tickets. I had it on my screen a second ago. It disappeared. Oh yeah, fifa.com/tickets. Go there and you will be able to try your luck at 11 a.m. tomorrow. Let's talk about another thing also due to the about the World Cup, and has to do with some of the art installations that are happening around the Metro Atlanta area. We love our murals here. Mayor Andre Dickens hosts a mural dedication in South Downtown, dedication of a new public mural called Wild Seed, Wild Flower. Look at that. That actually is beautiful. The colors are vibrant. It's to showcase public art investment and community storytelling ahead of the 2026 FIFA World Cup. The new public mural is one of 10 new art pieces popping up around the city as part of Atlanta's Bridges, Tunnels, and Walls program. It reflects the city's continued investment in public art as a powerful tool for storytelling, community connection, and neighborhood vibrancy. That truly is beautiful, the colors. And the nice thing is, because we heard about this last week when they were talking about some of the other things that they're doing. They're saying that these murals, well, they're going to be great for all the visitors coming to our area, but it's also going to be great for us after the World Cup is over, because we're going to be able to enjoy these. The people who live in Atlanta, who live in North Georgia, are going to be able to come around when they're walking around and be able to enjoy these public art displays. So that obviously is super nice, and that one beautiful. The wildflower and the wild seed and wildflower. That artist did a fantastic job there, and they held that dedication today. Again, one of 10 that they're doing around the city. As we come back into our studio here, we're still continuing on World Cup. We are counting down to the World Cup, but could fans miss out on one of soccer's biggest stars? Some questions surrounding the man many consider to be the greatest of all time. Good Day's Alex Whitler sat down with Atlanta World Cup ambassador Kevin Egan for today's big soccer headlines. Let's check it out.
Yeah, great to be here, and we're going to dive in on this one. I think it's really important right now that Lionel Messi has not confirmed whether he's going to participate in the World Cup or not at this stage, and we can dive in on some of the theories behind this potentially. Like, I think he will play. Okay. He's been part of Argentina's squads all throughout. Remember, Argentina and Messi won the World Cup 4 years ago, and Messi was obviously their best player. He is, for me, the greatest player to have ever played the game, and fans in the United States, Mexico, Canada, and the watching world will be devastated if the GOAT was not part of the World Cup this summer. But Messi's holding off on that for a few reasons. One, he's 39 in June. He wants to make sure he's physically good and able to go. There was some muscle issues before the season this year with Inter Miami, but he's been excellent of late. He scored a brace in front of 75,000 fans watching in Colorado just this past weekend. But Messi also, probably being the humble superstar that he is, probably wants to hold off on the whole Michael Jordan last dance type thing. He won't want that circus around him or around Inter Miami or the Argentine national team. So he'll probably do a press conference closer to the World Cup saying, yes, I'll play. This will absolutely be the last dance for both Messi and for Cristiano Ronaldo, who'll both make history being the only two players in the history of the World Cup to play in 6 World Cups. So let's see if Messi confirms and plays. I certainly hope so.
It just doesn't even sound right to not have him.
Yeah.
So here's to hoping. Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh my goodness, those are two names that even the people who don't know soccer know.
But think about the corporate side of things. Like, imagine Adidas or some of Messi's great sponsors that you see him advertising their brands. This would be an enormous decision if Messi did pull out. I can't see it happening though. Hopefully the greatest of all time is playing and starring at the World Cup this summer.
Well, let's start talking about some broader news here. Could Iran play a factor in this?
Yeah, the World Cup with Iran now is actually fascinating. I think it's a high-stakes geopolitical game of chicken right now, which you hate to see, but it's where we're at right now with the Iranian national team. The Iranian national team, let me just say, are a powerhouse in Asia. They're one of the best teams in Asia, and they're coming into this World Cup with a really good squad. They've never made it out of the group stage, but I think this could be the year where Iran have quality players further forward, especially that they can cause teams problems. The issue, of course, is what's going on in our world today politically. Now, President Donald Trump has warned Iran and warned the players and said it won't be safe for you to come play here. The coach of Iran is saying, no, we're gonna play. Why not? But the defense ministry over in Iran are asking FIFA, and they've asked them already, can we move our games to Mexico? And that's been denied. So it's just this unbelievable, I say game of chicken, and I don't say that lightly. It's actually horrendous. Gianni Infantino, the president of FIFA, met with the Iranian team not so long ago in Turkey and said, let's leave politics out of this. We want you to play. But it's not as simple as that. And this is the classic case of when politics comes into sport, and there's no avoiding it whatsoever. You know, I spoke with a dear friend of mine, an Iranian in Chicago recently, and he said, Kev, the Iran fans within the United States just want to see our team and like represent the wonderful culture that we have. Yes, there's major issues in the country of Iran, of course, but the people are wonderful people. The team want to go about playing their football, and let's see if it plays out that way. It would be a shame. I would love to see if Iran could play here and everything be safe, of course, and let the team go and represent the country and the proud history of Iran, aside from all the troubles, obviously, that have happened in the country.
Gosh, that was such serious soccer news. Two
Yeah.
very important topics. Yeah. We appreciate you breaking those down, but we want to leave everyone on a light note, if you will. Okay. So let's talk about Atlanta. I don't know. When I moved here, I didn't think of just how many soccer fans we have here, and it has really exploded city and metro-wide. So could this become an epicenter for soccer?
You just said it. You just said, yes, it could, and it actually already has, in my opinion. Atlanta has quickly become the epicenter for soccer in North America, which is absolutely wild to think, because I'm with you. I first came here in 2017 calling Atlanta United matches on Fox Sports South, and the wave of momentum behind the team was undeniable. So in the last 10 years, you think about the impact of Arthur Blank in this great city of ours, the introduction of Atlanta United in MLS, the construction of the finest stadium arguably in the planet in Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Now you convince US Soccer to move their base from Chicago to Georgia, just south of Atlanta in Fayetteville. We've got a women's team coming in 2028, a professional women's team, and Arthur's committed like $130 million or so for a state-of-the-art training facility just for the women's team. We've the World Cup, 8 games coming, including a semi-final. We've had Copa America, the Club World Cup. This city, all of a sudden, is a soccer town. It's a soccer city. Make no mistake about it, and the eyes of the world are going to be on Atlanta this summer, and we've got to deliver.
Football and football. That's what we do here. I love that. I know you've got a quiz for me. Let me go ahead and buckle up. What's your word for the day?
So this one is group of death.
Okay.
Group of death. Any idea? It's thrown out all the time when we're talking about the World Cup, especially when the draw is made for the World Cup. Any idea?
These are your really strong contenders.
Yeah, all in one group.
I'm gonna stop talking. I'm gonna leave it there.
You've nailed it. All in one group.
Okay.
So, for example, we've got a group with France, arguably the favourites to go and win it all, with Kylian Mbappe leading the charge. Senegal, they've got Nico Jackson, they've got Sadio Mane. They're arguably the best team in Africa. Iraq, I think, are the weakest team in that group by some distance. But Norway, with Erling Haaland and Martin Odegaard, they're a team that could absolutely challenge. So I think you've got really strong teams in this group, and maybe only 2 make it out. You know, it's the top 2 teams make it out, and the 8 best third place finishers, because it's the first ever World Cup with 48 teams.
Man, it's like we get March Madness, now we get the World Cup. It's always something that we get to watch.
Close.
Yeah,
we're getting close.
All right, Kevin, as always, we appreciate it, your expertise, and just your fun-loving spirit.
Cheers.
We really do enjoy having you. And don't forget, Fox 5 is your home for the 2026 FIFA World Cup. Look for updates and features leading up to the big event.
Yeah, what they're saying about how Atlanta always gets the big events, we do. We've had the national championship. We've had the Super Bowl. We're getting the Super Bowl again at some point. We have the FIFA World Cup coming here. We have a lot of good things happening here in Atlanta, and obviously a lot of people are very excited for the fact that the 2026 FIFA World Cup will be here, and we get 8 matches, including a big semifinal on July 15th. Moving on this Tuesday afternoon for Fox 5 News Live at 1 o'clock. If you've noticed it's starting to get harder to read some small print or having issues just trying to see things up close, obviously glasses, things like this, help with that. But you could be experiencing something that's a common age-related vision change when the eyes just gradually start losing the ability to focus on like nearby objects. I'm sure it doesn't help when you stare at a phone or a computer screen super close up. And it starts typically happening around the age of 40 and affects, get this, more than 128 million people. So breaking it all down, I talked to an eye doctor about this. Let's take a look. Dr. Nancy, thank you so much for joining us here on Fox 5 News Live at 1 o'clock. Let's start with something many viewers might recognize. Let's say you're holding that phone or that menu at arm's length to see it clearly. What's going on, and could that be presbyopia?
Presbyopia is definitely sounding like the likely culprit in that situation, and it's super frustrating, but it's important to know that it's completely normal. What happens is you have a lens on the inside of your eye that's been focusing for you your whole life. And all of a sudden, well, around the time you've had about 40 birthdays, it becomes less flexible and doesn't focus the way it did. So like you said, people start pulling things farther away, using their phone. Then they start borrowing their spouse's glasses and then get their own over-the-counter readers. And then they have 5 pairs of them. And we're here to tell everybody that there are more solutions for them that are a lot easier on your lifestyle than those readers.
So is that a telltale sign that you're dealing with something like that?
It is. And it happens to everybody, no matter what. A lot of people will think that, you know, if they're on screens a lot, it's going to happen to them sooner. Or because I've worn glasses my whole life, I've done this to myself. It happens to everyone, no matter what. And when it happens to you, it's annoying. But the good thing is, it kind of prompts you to know that your vision's changing. So you should go see an eye care provider to make sure nothing else is happening that you might not have any symptoms for.
So what if someone's in a drugstore and they see like those reader glasses, and someone might grab one of those, they use it and it looks like it's working. Is that a long-term solution, or should they go see a professional?
It's definitely a solution, but I would not say it's a long-term solution. Besides just being annoying, and then you end up with, you know, like I was saying, 5 pairs of them, and they're everywhere. You want something that's going to allow you to just live your life like this whole presbyopia thing never happened. So we have options like glasses that allow you to see up close, far away, in between. And then we also have multifocal contact lenses, which are my personal favorite option because it lets people that have never had to wear glasses their whole life, I think they're kind of the most annoyed by this whole situation, go back to not wearing glasses at all.
Okay. And so obviously you said about 40 years old, so presbyopia comes around midlife. Does this start fitting in with other changes that people start to see?
It does, and it's at the worst time because we're so busy juggling all of our activities and our kids' things and busy at work and probably having a lot of screen time. So with that, we have a lot of patients that are also complaining about dryness. It's something that happens as well sometimes with more birthdays and more screen use because your blink rate goes down because you're staring at the screen. So for me, it's fantastic because a patient comes in to see me just because they have this problem of not being able to see up close. And sometimes I can knock out 2 problems at once for them because some of the contacts I use, like Daly's Total One multifocal, have nearly 100% water at the surface. So they're super comfortable. They feel like nothing. And my patient is left with clear vision at all distances and comfortable vision. So it ends up working out better for them in the long run, even though all this stuff was really annoying when it started to happen.
Yeah, and so you recommend people get that eye exam first. Why? And then also, what can you expect from getting that type of exam?
When you see your eye doctor, they're going to, of course, figure out the visual solution that's best for you, like we discussed. And then they're also going to look at the health of your eyes. Besides dry eye that also has symptoms, there are other things that unfortunately don't have symptoms, like glaucoma. And these are things that if we find them and diagnose them early, we can slow things down or prevent them altogether. We can also see signs of overall health just by looking into the eye. We have blood vessels there that we can see, and they can give us signs of high blood pressure, diabetes, and to be honest, a lot of the patients that end up in my chair with presbyopia, they've never had an eye exam before, and they're probably not the best at seeing their regular doctors either. So sometimes I get to be the person that sets them off for an overall healthy pair of eyes and healthy life.
So how often would you recommend someone to go see an eye doctor, whether it's an ophthalmologist or an optometrist?
Yearly. They need to have a yearly comprehensive eye exam in order for us to just keep a good solid baseline and then make sure there are no changes from that point going forward.
And so you said that sometimes people you see, you don't see, that's the first time they've ever probably been to an eye doctor. It's been a while. I mean, what's the average? How long do people actually go between eye appointments? I know for me, it's been a little bit.
So, I mean, I'll say that we want them to go a year, depending on their visual situation. Some people go longer than others. When people are contact lens wearers, we typically will see them every single year. If somebody has had really great vision their whole life, that's why they don't end up going to get seen, because they don't have a symptom, they don't have problems. But that's why it's so important to have these conversations so everyone knows that they really should be getting checked out just to be preventative and stay on the safe side.
So obviously this is a lot of information for people to take in. Where can people learn more about all of this?
Yes, so the website, ALCON.com/consumer. We'll tell them more about presbyopia, more about the contact lens solutions we discussed, and most importantly, help them find an eye care provider near them if they don't already have an eye doctor, because unfortunately, presbyopia is going to happen to all of us, but impacting your life in a negative way, that doesn't have to happen anymore.
There are solutions. Dr. Nancy, thank you so much for joining us today. We do appreciate it. All good information. We appreciate her joining us. And let's take a live look once again over Midtown and downtown Atlanta on this beautiful Tuesday afternoon. We still have a lot more ahead here on Fox 5 News Live at 1 o'clock. We're going to be checking in with one of our digital content creators about what is trending on our website, fox5atlanta.com and Fox Local. Stick with us. We'll be right back after this. And welcome back to Fox 5 News Live at 1 o'clock. We're so glad you're here. Let's get a check of our stories that are trending on our website, fox5atlanta.com, and our Fox local app. And we want to check in with our digital guru, Joyce Lupiani, who is standing by at our digital desk with a look at that. Hey, Joyce.
Hey, Tyler. So I got some great stuff for you today. I started out yesterday with a story about Cardi B because she was in town this past weekend performing at State Farm Arena. And yesterday's story was how she was blasting the arena for an incident that happened there. Well, today the story is much more positive. So apparently Cardi B is like a huge, fan of presidents. She's like completely obsessed, and she's like the presidential trivia queen. So Amy Carter, who is the daughter of former President Jimmy Carter, was at her show on Saturday night, and she brought a copy of Jimmy Carter's White House diaries that was signed by him.
Wow.
And that little video, yeah, right? You can see in that video that Cardi B was like totally excited about the book that she got. And she, posted it on social media. And of course, it went viral. Another thing that went viral, I don't think we had the video for this, but I saw it online. Amy stayed for the show, and she was like totally into it. And she was dancing and everything. And like this one woman, shot a video of her dancing and said something about how grandma was having a good time, not realizing it was Amy Carter. But of course, other people did recognize the former, first daughter, and they remarked on the video about it being Amy Carter, and that went viral too. So overall, just kind of a really cool little story.
Very neat. I mean, the fact that she is so excited about that book that is signed by former President Jimmy Carter, that's absolutely amazing. And the fact that it was caught on video, I mean, I'd love to see that.
Yes, definitely. Well, my next story is not so happy. It's about gas prices. And I have talked about this a few times now. And I know you talked to Justin Farmer yesterday.
Yep.
And he told you that gas prices will probably go up. I think he said 4 to 6 cents by the end of the week. I mean, they've been going up and down quite a bit, here lately because of the situation with Iran. So anyway, I was driving home and I heard a couple of DJs, and they were talking about how much is too much to pay and kind of what the tipping point is, when you have to start, deciding if you're going to buy gas or if you're going to buy groceries, that sort of thing. Anyway, I started doing a little bit of digging, and the good news is that you probably already know, so drivers here in Georgia, we actually pay a little bit less than the national average. Plus, right, and Governor Kemp, he also suspended the tax on it, so we're paying, I think, about $3.70, and the average price right now is a little bit over $4. So all things, if you're comparing, we're doing pretty good. We're actually ranked number 43 out of all the states, which is pretty close to the bottom. However, there's another list that we don't rank so well on. And that is how many miles that the people here in Georgia drive. We drive a lot. Like me, I drive 80 miles a day for work. And that's several hundred miles a week. And that's not unusual. A lot of people, they might work in Atlanta, but they live out in the suburbs. So they're driving 20, 30, even 40 miles one way to go to work. So we're actually ranked number 6 for the most miles, driven. So when you, think about that and you think about the cost of gas, then yeah, it's quite a bit of money that, people here in Georgia are paying for gas right now.
Well, and if you're looking at the video that we're playing right now, it says anywhere from $6 to $7 a gallon. Thankfully, we are not seeing that here in Georgia. Clearly, that's coming out of places like California, where their gas prices are obviously always exorbitantly high. But I mean, the fact that some states are paying that amount of gas, $6, $7 a gallon, is just exorbitantly wild. And we should be thankful here in Georgia that it's $3.70 a gallon is the average right now.
That is so true. I used to live in Nevada, as you know, and I can remember a few years ago when it got to be up over $5. Fortunately, at the time, I was not living as far from work, but if it gets to like $5 or $6 here, it's like, you guys are going to have to let me work from home because I am not going to be able to afford to drive to work. I mean, that's just like kind of crazy.
Well, the good news is if you're having to pay more for gas, it sounds like McDonald's is trying to help you out. That's your next story that a lot of people are clicking on.
Oh, yeah, but it's not quite true when you start looking into it. So McDonald's just came out with a new value menu. And this menu has several different items that are under $3, like your sausage biscuits and your sausage burritos, your hash browns, like a small fry, McDoubles, and then some drinks. And they're also offering like a new $4 breakfast. You get a sandwich and a hash brown, like a small drink. And then they have like some other, lunch and dinner combos that are like $5 or $6. So yeah. Okay, that sounds good, right? But I did a little bit of digging on this one too. So I actually started reading a couple of different articles, and then I went on to Reddit. And people are basically saying that because they are getting rid of their buy one, get one for $1 deal, it could cost you more. So here's like a specific example that I saw on Reddit. This guy was saying that, with the buy one, get one for $1 deal, he could buy a McDouble for like $2.99. And then he could get another one for just like $1. So that's $3.99, right? So now on the new menu, they have lowered the price of the sandwich to $2.50. However, you can't get another one for $1. So if you were to get 2 of those now, it would actually cost you $5. So that is $1 more than you were paying with the buy one, get one for $1 deal. And there's several other little examples like that. And like I said, the experts are agreeing that this, might sound good on the surface, but may not necessarily be true. And kind of depending on where you live, it might not work out to your advantage, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, we know that the folks in the marketing department at McDonald's came up with this, and they were trying to probably figure out a way. Costs are rising everywhere, so they're probably having to try to figure out how they can make something still sound attractive on a value menu that's under $3 to then also still be able to make a profit when things are costing more money. Because obviously we talked about gas prices a second ago. They have to get all of their food to each of their franchise stores around the country, around the world. So it does make sense that they're trying to do things like that. $1 more is a significant amount, especially if you buy something like that on a daily or a weekly basis. Adds
right.
up.
They're probably going to ban me if they see this report, but, I got to tell people what the truth is.
And that is the truth. Joyce Lupiani, thanks so much for joining us here on Fox 5 News Live at 1 o'clock. I do appreciate it. And still ahead here on Fox 5 News Live as we come back into our studio, I want to talk about something that you may have caught it on Good Day Atlanta. Sports legends at Valhalla Golf Club in Helen are there today for a golf invitational. The event, now in its 25th year, raises money for the United Way of White County. Of course, we sent my good friend Paul Milliken up there to give us a look.
So, Daryl Cheney, can you believe it's been 25 years of this tournament?
It's been a great ride, Paul. Yeah. I mean, it really has. And we really appreciate you folks coming out and putting us on the TV. The phones are already ringing with what you did with Andy Nager, our World War II veteran that's our honorary starter, and he'll be at the banquet tonight and gets honored and all that kind of stuff. He's a wonderful man. He was a neighbor of mine for a number of years, and just a little something extra for an event like this to have. I mean, let's face it, there's not many guys like him left out there in the greatest generation. And he landed on Utah Beach 4 days after Normandy and drove a tank all the way to Berlin.
Unbelievable.
And he's got a wonderful story to tell, and he's got pictures and driving the tank and shooting people and all the stuff that they had to do back then. It's just an amazing guy.
Yeah, well, speaks to the quality of people that you attract at this tournament. So let's go back 25 years. What was the reasoning for starting this charity golf tournament?
Well, I just just had moved up here in United Way. Bill Sutton Jr. was the president of United Way, and he happened to be one of my bankers. And he invited me to, he said, we're going to have a golf tournament for United Way. Would you mind coming and being our celebrity? We'll auction you off. I was the only celebrity there. And a gentleman named Bill Thomas, who's going to come to the banquet tonight, 25 years ago, he paid $800.
Oh, that's not bad, $800.
No, back then it was big money, man. Yeah. It was big money today, too. And so we played, and after about the fourth hole, we started talking about how can we grow this thing into something else. And I said, well, I can call Dewey McClain. At the time, Dewey was the president of the Atlanta chapter of the NFL alumni. And so next year we had 36 celebrities, and boom, here we are today. And
well, and now you've crossed over giving more than $1 million to the United Way of White County. How does it feel when you hear that number?
It's so gratifying, and it's really humbling. When I got into this, I didn't really know how the agencies were operating and how they would benefit and who got what and how United Way handled it all. But I went to a couple allocation meetings where the agencies come in and they put their case forth as to how much money they need. And then they decide who's going to get what. And then when we give the checks out after the golf tournament, I go to those things. And to have a director of an agency come up to me, none of them are paid. Yeah. They're all volunteers. And have a director of an agency go up to me and give me a hug with tears in her eyes saying, thank you so much for what you're doing up here. You know, that's it for me. I just I melt when I see those kind of things. So good Lord willing, as long as I can keep on doing this. This is my 46th year in a row doing a celebrity golf tournament. So, but this one here has got a special place in my heart. It's a special little area up here, and the money up here goes so far as compared to if we did this tournament in Atlanta.
Sure.
And all our celebrities, all they do, I don't pay anybody to come up here. When they find their way up here, then we take care of everything else. And we get the rooms donated by the Holiday Inn, and we got 12 people that have been working on this for 25 years, and they're all in kind of the same position. So it's really good. It's really it's such a blessing.
And here's that loaded question: who makes the best golf competitors? Is it baseball players? Is it football players? What is it?
Well, I'm a baseball player.
I know. That's why I'm asking.
But I look at it objectively because I see some of these guys play out here, and it's just baseball. There's no doubt about it in my mind. Baseball players are the best golfers.
Daryl Cheney says it. We believe it. It's a pleasure to see you as always. Let's do it again next year, shall we?
Thank you, Paul. Thanks for our channel. Thanks for the Fox coming up here. Appreciate you guys very much.
Pleasure.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, man. All right.
Thank you. Have a good day.
All right. Now we're moving.
A golf invitational for a good cause. Of course, Paul Milliken had to check it out. We appreciate that look into the tournament and talking with the organizers. We do appreciate it, Paul. Thanks so much. We'll see you tomorrow morning on Good Day Atlanta. The news on Fox 5 News Live at 1 will continue right after this. Breaking news is coming into our newsroom right now about the search for a possible murder suspect in Cobb County. I want to send it over to Assignment Manager Tanya Mendoza, who is tracking the very latest. Tanya, what can you tell us?
That's right. There is a search underway right now in Cobb County over off of Windy Hill and Leland Road. We just got this press release in our email. They're attempting to locate a suspect with an outstanding warrant for murder. The suspect was armed and pointed his weapon at an officer who discharged a service weapon. The suspect fled on foot, and there is a significant law enforcement presence in that area while they're conducting this search. They're asking for people to take alternate routes, avoid the area. For those of you who don't know, this is around Windy Hill, Leland Road, right off the interstate on the Papacito side. There's a bunch of hotels in that area. There's usually officers in that area anyway, because not too far from the Braves Stadium, especially when there's games, there's a lot of police presence in that area, but that is happening right now. Avoid the area. We have our photographer, Eric Len, on the way. We'll have our helicopter up shortly to also fly over it, and we'll have an update in the later shows.
Yeah, this is a breaking story. I just got the push alert from our Fox Local app. We're going to be staying on top of this. Tanya, thank you for the update there on what's happening out in Cobb County. As she mentioned, one of our photojournalists, Eric Len, along with Sky Fox 5, is flying out to the scene right now. We're going to bring you the very latest on Fox 5 News Live at 2 and 3 o'clock, along with all of our other evening shows as well. Let's continue on this 1 o'clock hour. During this 1 o'clock hour, right now, the Atlanta Beltline and Trees Atlanta are working together to achieve an ambitious goal. Our Maria Guzman joins us with the latest. Hey, Maria.
Hey, Tyler. I hope you're doing good. It's a beautiful, warm and sunny day here in the Beltline. I'm in the west side of the Beltline here. And we're also very close to Trees Atlanta. Now, that's a nonprofit that really focuses on protecting and preserving the urban forests here in the greater Atlanta area. And with me here, I have the executive director, Greg. And Greg, there is some happening with Trees Atlanta and the Beltline. So just tell us a little bit about that.
Sure. So we're here on the Atlanta Beltline Arboretum, which is now the longest linear arboretum in the world. And an arboretum is a botanical garden that focuses on woody plants and trees. And what we have here is not only a public garden that you can come to for free, but it loops around the city, 22 miles long eventually. And what's really great about that is it's so connected to so many neighborhood people and the community in general to be part of this garden.
Yeah, and right now we're in the spring, but this summer there's going to be some expansions that are going to be happening. So tell us about that.
Sure. So we are focused right now. Beltline is building out the trail on the southern part and a couple other areas too. The southern part will connect the trail, and we are going to complete almost 13 miles of arboretum as well. So that's a lot more trees, a lot more native plants, and a lot more connectivity for both people through the public space in the garden, the arboretum, but also for wildlife to move through in a safe way that can do all the good that wildlife does, everything from pollinators to birds.
Yeah, this arboretum is a huge investment into the city, but also into the Beltline. So where does this money for this arboretum project come from?
So it comes from private foundations, but also a big component comes from the tax allocation district, a special that we call it TAD, and that was voted on over 20 years ago. Yeah. So that funding has helped pay for it, and then the increased tax revenue from all the development will actually pay that back and more.
Yeah, and obviously this summer there's going to be even much more people here in the city of Atlanta with the World Cup. So that means maybe much more people that are going to be walking through the Beltline, seeing all the greenery. So what's something that you hope that they take away from as they see all the plants, trees, and greenery here?
So when you walk through the Beltline Arboretum, wherever community you're from, whatever city, state, or country, you have an opportunity to see your infrastructure projects become another level of asset to your community. So adding a public garden onto any big infrastructure project is always a great thing, but it's also about what you can do in your own personal yard to add to the health and welfare of your community and the environment. So planting native plants, planting more trees, helping cool the planet and cool your own city. That's what we want people to bring home. Bring home that you can make a difference that you want to see in the world, and it starts with something like this, a project that you can add on to and make better.
Amazing. Thank you so much for being here with us, Greg, today. And also just something to know is that just last month, the Beltline was recognized as the world's longest linear arboretum. So just a lot of cool and exciting things are happening here. So in the meantime, I'm going to continue to enjoy this beautiful sunny day, and I'll send things back to you, Tyler.
Maria, I am so glad that you are getting to experience the Beltline. You are new to Fox Local and joining us here, and so this is your first day on air, and we welcome you, and I'm so glad you're going to do the Beltline as your first one, because that's one of my favorite parts of the city of Atlanta. We do appreciate it. We'll see you at 2 and 3 o'clock. As we come back into our newsroom here, that is going to do it for us for Fox 5 News Live at 1 o'clock. I am looking off to the side of my screen right now. I see Jasmine Cornell is standing by. She'll be taking over the 2 o'clock hour, and I'll see you right back here at 3 o'clock. Fox 5 News Live at 2 continues after this.
pages long. And so he has pleaded guilty now in Coweta County Court. Been sentenced to 19 years in prison. Coweta County District Attorney Herb Cranford telling me this is one of the most egregious cases of child pornography that they've ever prosecuted here in Coweta County. The case does stem from 2023. He was first arrested in neighboring Fayette County in Peachtree City, where he lived at the time. I understand they still have charges on him. He could still go to trial over there, but here in Coweta County, the case has been resolved now that he's pleaded guilty. An interesting fact about this case: he was arrested in June of 2023. In July of 2023, just a few weeks after his arrest, the law in Georgia changed. And it changed so that prosecutors could prosecute a person for each individual image that they had of child pornography. Before that, they could only prosecute for one image per crime. That's it, one image. So he was prosecuted under the old law of one image. Imagine if they would have been able to prosecute him for the thousands of images that they say they found on his computer. One other thing about this case is that when they started questioning him, he said, and he bragged to law enforcement, my computer is so well encrypted, you will never get to my files. Well, they took that as a challenge, unfortunately for him, because they did they were able to get into those encrypted files. They were able to break the code, and they discovered all those images, they say, as well as the book that we're talking about.
Wow, what a crazy case here. Doug, I'm curious to know, has law enforcement said anything to parents to help them remain vigilant in situations like this? Because it's a scary situation for families, for children and parents both.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. One of the important things to note here, Jasmine, and I'm glad you brought it up, is that there were no local children in the thousands of images that Allwine was said to have had on his computer. They went through all of those photos and determined that none of those were local children involved, local victims. But still, they tell parents, be vigilant about what your children are doing. Be vigilant about who they have contact with, not even online through social media, but especially online through gaming systems, because people can meet there, and that is another favorite way for these guys accused of grooming children for child sexual exploitation use, is these gaming platforms as well. And this book was so well detailed. It took different situations and scenarios in this very disgusting way. It even had a chapter, Jasmine, on how to befriend single moms so that the reader could entice their children for indecent purposes.
Wow. Yeah, very disturbing here. 1,000 images, this book. It's like this man thought he was above the law.
Well, he certainly didn't think the law was going to catch him.
Yeah. He did think that. Yes, I agree with you there. Doug, thanks so much for shedding some light on the situation here. We'll catch up with you a little later. Moving forward, guys, let's talk about the string of break-ins that happen in the Midtown area. If you live in the Atlanta area, you know that car break-ins is very familiar, and you can do, you know, everything to protect yourself, but it still could happen to you. So Atlanta police are investigating after shots were fired and vehicles were damaged early this morning in Midtown Atlanta. Atlanta police say officers were on a directed patrol on Crescent Avenue Northeast when they observed a suspicious male fire gunshots, that is, towards a white sedan. It appears the occupant of that car possibly observed the man, identified as Frank Wyatt, crouching beside his or her vehicle and pulled out a gun. Watt then allegedly fired several shots at the person in the white car as it drove away. It was at this point that Atlanta police officers intervened and detained him. Officers did remain at the scene in the parking lot of Midtown, until the early hours of this morning to conduct their investigation, and they cleared that scene around 4:30 a.m. But Atlanta police have not yet released any information about what happened to the damaged vehicles that were seen at the scene. Sounds like this guy was breaking into cars and was trying to break into somebody's car who happened to be sitting in the car, and they caught him. And that's when the shots were fired. So a very scary situation here. Atlanta police are investigating this incident here in the Midtown area. Moving forward, the Kroger shooting spree victim, his family is going to remember him today. A balloon release will be held to honor him. And there's a flyer on your screen. He was shot while sleeping outside the Brookhaven Kroger. 48-year-old Tony Matthews is his name. He died on Sunday from his injuries. Now, the shooting spree happened at the Kroger on Peachtree Road at the Cherokee Plaza last Monday, April 13th. And officers have charged a 26-year-old Navy veteran named Aone Abel for these random attacks. It's just one of the shootings that Monday morning. Investigators say Matthew was one of several victims targeted in what authorities describe as a series of seemingly random attacks carried out by 26-year-old Aone Abel. Police say these attacks left 2 women dead and another seriously injured. And just going through the timeline of that Monday morning, around midnight, Abel left his home in Panthersville following an intense argument with his roommates over air conditioning. Then around 12:50, 31-year-old Brianna Weathers is fatally shot outside a Decatur area fast food restaurant. Then not even 2 hours later at 2 o'clock, 48-year-old Tony Matthews is shot multiple times while sleeping outside the grocery store outside of Kroger there in Brookhaven, and he died on Sunday. At 7 a.m. that day, Lauren Bullis, a Department of Homeland Security auditor, was found dead with a gunshot and stab wounds while walking her dog near Abel's home. And then 11 a.m., Georgia State Patrol pulled his car over in Troup County near the Alabama border and took him into custody. He's due in court next week for a bond hearing, but authorities are still working to piece together these series of shootings. So if you have any information, contact Brookhaven Police Department here. His motive still remains unclear, but we know that this started after an argument, following an intense argument, that is, between Aone and his 2 female roommates. Moving forward now, let's talk about something different here. Georgia is gearing up for early voting as concerns mount over voting technology. So today, the Georgia Secretary of State spoke with reporters in Marietta as officials prepare for the start of early voting, which is this coming Monday. Fox 5's Deidre Dukes has more. And Deidre, what steps has the office taken to ensure a smooth and secure early voting process?
Yeah, they did come out today wanting to assure all those who head to the polls for the primaries that everything is in place for safe and secure elections. We're joining you live from the Cobb County election headquarters in Marietta, and it's been very busy out here today, a very busy time of year for both state and local elections officials. And just here at the Cobb County elections, we've seen a lot of activity out here today as elections officials here at the county level have been busy training poll workers here today for the upcoming primaries. Now, we did catch up with Secretary of State Brad Raffensperger and other state election officials at another location here in Marietta today, and they assured us that everything is in place for a smooth, secure elections process when advanced voting gets underway next week. Now, we also talked to Secretary Raffensperger about the fast approaching deadline requiring Georgia remove those QR codes from ballots. So we talked to some others about that yesterday, and Lieutenant Governor Burt Jones has gone on record. He's running against Secretary of State Raffensperger for governor, and he's blamed Raffensperger for not implementing the change before the July 1st deadline. Now, this year's legislative session ended without resolution as to how and when Georgia will remove QR codes from ballots, and the law requires the state to eliminate or those QR codes from paper ballots by July 1st. So Jones blames Secretary Raffensperger for the delay, arguing that Raffensperger has had 2 years since the law's passage to make the necessary changes. But according to Raffensperger, when we spoke with him today, he said that Jones and state lawmakers failed to provide the estimated $25 to $60 million required to upgrade the scanners and equipment statewide. Here's what he told us.
He really should start reading the memos that he gets from our office, because we've been telling them now for 2 years, this is what it would cost, this is how long it would take, and all those things. They had that this session, obviously, they had the other session before. Multiple times we've told them what the cost is, what it would look like, and they did nothing. They had 2 sessions to do something. So what he did is he came in last session with his buddies, and he went ahead and did nothing, but he's just kind of like a DC politician, talks a lot, doesn't get the job done.
And so you hear it there, both Secretary Raffensperger and Lieutenant Governor Burt Jones, both running for governor, having a lot to say on this issue, criticizing one another as to how this has played out so far. It is a likelihood that this will wind up in court if state lawmakers can't resolve this issue, and there is also talk that we may have a special session sometime possibly in June or July to resolve this issue before it heads to court, for the courts to decide on this. But definitely a source of contention between the two as we head into the primaries.
So, Deidre, I know that some voters are wondering if they can be confident in the system and will their ballots be accurately counted. Have you been able to speak with any residents on this issue and kind of get an idea of what they're saying?
Well, if you look at the polling that we've seen in recent years, particularly since the 2020 elections, you do see that here in the state of Georgia overall there is faith in the way our systems are carried out, belief that the system is and does remain secure and safe, that their votes are being counted. Of course, you will have that faction who since 2020 does not necessarily believe that is the case, but the Secretary of State's office does point out that when you look here both at the state level and the national level, that poll after poll has shown that there is great faith in Georgia's election process overall, and they say that as the primaries approach, that Georgians can be confident again as they head to the polls that our elections do remain secure.
Deidre, thanks so much for giving us some insight on the situation and giving us an update on what the Secretary of State said. We'll let you get back to your reporting. Time now is 2:18. When we return, we'll take a look at your weather forecast, and it feels pretty nice outside. Welcome back to Fox 5 News Live. I'm Jasmine Cornell. Thanks for joining us here on Fox Local, where we're streaming on some of your favorite social media sites as well. Let's talk weather now. Alex is here to share that forecast.
So I think I've got good news for a lot of people, and it's going to be in the form of some wet weather. Okay. And the timing's probably not the best, but we talked about it yesterday. We really need it, so we're going to take it where we can get it. Now, if you're looking for rain this afternoon, you're going to have a hard time finding some. Not only is it warm outside, but the air continues to be dry. 76 in Atlanta right now, 76 over in Dalton, 71 in Blairsville, 72 in Athens, and 77 in Thomaston. A closer look here in the metro, our warmest number is Douglasville and Conyers, both at 76, 75 up there in Alpharetta. Now, as we look at this here over the next several days, watching a system out to the west, you see some rain in parts of Texas at this hour. That is not necessarily on its way here, but it's the precursor for what's to come by the time we get into the weekend. Otherwise, we are quiet across the eastern seaboard, and that is the way we are going to remain here for at least the next couple of days. There's Tuesday on into Wednesday. There's a front sliding down the eastern seaboard, but then by the time we get towards the end of the week, I think that's when our rain chance will begin to go up. Watch that system out to the west, an area of low pressure, and then look at that, some storms back into Arkansas, over into Tennessee, and that's the type of weather that's going to prompt a severe weather risk for them. Us, not so much, I don't think, at least out of this first wave of storms. It's going to be that second wave where I'm watching for potentially some funny business. But the way I see it now is Saturday not being a washout, but a decent chance of rain through the afternoon. That rain chance now up to 70%. Drier for Sunday, and then I'm watching another system likely late Monday into Tuesday. So I expect the daytime hours on Monday to be mostly dry. Then once we get into the evening hours, maybe the chance of storms and some of that might bleed into Tuesday morning. That's what this map is most closely tied to. This is the next 7 days, the rainfall forecast here. Looking for some of those yellow shaded areas to see potentially upwards of 2 inches of rain. And again, that's some welcome news. 80 in Atlanta today, 79 in Covington, 77 in Athens, 76 over in Blairsville. Then into the night tonight, our average low is 55. We'll be right in the ballpark of that. 57 in Atlanta, 53 in Canton, 52 over in Athens, 50 in Eatonton, and 54 in Thomaston. Work our way into the overnight hours. And then we get into tomorrow afternoon. I think we'll be a couple degrees warmer than today. Here's the hour-by-hour forecast, starting off in the mid-50s, getting into the 80s before all is said and done for an afternoon high. I'm looking for 82 in Atlanta, 84 in Athens, and 82 over in Gainesville by the time we get to tomorrow. So here's your Fox 5 Storm Team 7-day forecast now. That warming trend is back. Temperatures back above the norm, not as far above the norm as we had been really for the last several weeks, right? Hitting 90, but still, Jasmine, if you like the mid 80s, I think you're going to like it outside. Low humidity until we get to Saturday, and of course that comes with rain chances building back in as well.
You know, I do like the 80s. I like the 90s better, but I will stick with the 80s. That's cool.
Well, if you like the 90s, I think you'll like the summertime. You know, yes, this is still April after all.
Yeah, it is. I'm looking forward to to the summertime. I think that'll be great. But I know good news here with the 80s and then also the chance of rain at the end of this week.
Right, a little bit of everything.
Yes, Alex, thanks so much for joining us to talk weather. Moving forward now, let's talk about the World Cup. So a new World Cup entertainment district has been approved by Atlanta City Council. And this is some good news, although some people are questioning if Atlanta is ready for the World Cup. So the Atlanta City Council passed this ordinance creating a public World Cup entertainment district downtown, but officials excluded a provision that would have allowed you all to have open containers. So the new district, though, covers a massive portion of downtown Atlanta, including Mercedes-Benz Stadium, the State Farm Arena, the World of Coke, and the Georgia Aquarium. And according to the City Council, the district will officially begin June 11th and stay in effect through July 19th. And during this time, cruising is prohibited within the district's boundaries. The measure also bans people from giving away or selling free commercial products on the street. Now, while the original plan included a provision to allow fans to drink in public. A council member removed that portion before the final vote. That council member saying he wanted more time to talk with people living in the downtown area and Castleberry Hill community about what an open container district would mean for them. Despite the last-minute change, that council member said he thinks the open container rule will eventually pass at a later date. So it is currently unclear when the city council will reintroduce this open container portion of the legislation, or if any specific safety measures will be added to address the neighbors' concerns. Additionally, the city has not specified how it will enforce the ban on street sales, which Councilmember Antonio Lewis worried would unfairly target water boys and other local residents trying to make money during the games. So the FIFA World Cup 26 is the 23rd edition. Just a little bit of background information here. It's a 23rd edition of the International Men's Soccer Championship, if you didn't know, and it's being jointly hosted by 16 cities across North America. Atlanta's schedule includes major matches such as a round of 32 game on July 1st, a round of 16 game on the 7th of July, and a semifinal match on July 15th. So I know many people, hundreds of thousands of people, are flocking to the Atlanta area for this, and many people are looking forward to it. So Mayor Andre Dickens today held a special mural dedication ceremony and press conference ahead of the World Cup. Officials say this latest installation reflects the city's continued investment in public art as a powerful tool for storytelling, community connection, and neighborhood vibrancy. Let's take a quick listen.
All right, thank you, Councilmember Dozier.
Ready.
Wonderful District 4, getting a lot of things done. I've been here a lot of times over the past few months because we've just been cutting ribbons and doing work, and I'm just proud of the collaboration that we have with you and your team and your office in District 4. So thank you for your leadership, and I'm excited to be in Mechanicsville again because we got a lot of stuff going on in Mechanicsville, and I'm just really proud of this moment. It's a great day in Southwest Atlanta, and the sun is shining. It's just kind of, we're on this side of this big wall, so we're on the chilly side of things, but it will warm up throughout the day. To you, Adrian, thank you for your leadership. Thank you to your whole team at the Mayor's Office of Cultural Affairs. You guys have been doing a whole lot over the years, but you are in overdrive right now. Y'all are moving and busy. So I don't even call you about little stuff like some art in my office. Kevin said, I'm not even gonna bug you about stuff. Oh, he's like, you got something coming? All right, I said, hey man, we doing big things. I got a little picture I want in my office, but I'm gonna wait till after World Cup. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Y'all are doing an awesome amount of work, and the work is quality, and the community rallies around y'all. Y'all give us hope and inspiration and life. Not just, we see infrastructure. We got the orange cones to prove that the sidewalks and the roads are getting infrastructure, but people are seeing these murals. They're seeing the social and artistic infrastructure that resonates with our emotions and our love of the city. And I think you guys might feel that too when they honk at you as you're on a scaffold or paintbrushes and you're going around all painted up. This is a group project. I'm really proud of us and what we're doing together. And so to Living Walls, Monica, much respect, much love, and to Charity, this has been awesome what you guys are doing. Thank you for this mural and your partnership with the city of Atlanta. We're celebrating the work that's happening across Atlanta through the Bridges, Tunnels, and Walls program. As mentioned, Camille Love is really, semi-retired. She's still working in some very specific projects that I have her doing, and this is in conjunction with one of them. Again, this is transforming everyday infrastructure like this wall into canvases that tells Atlanta's story. And this work is showing up all across the city, as Adrian mentioned. We got 10 of them. We cut the ribbon on one on 17th Street the other day that the Girl Scouts were instrumental in painting. Young girls being able to create that trefoil trail mural on 17th So this is the tallest and biggest mural, but we have the longest mural, which is the 17th Street. And so this is here at Windsor. I got to look out for Atlanta motorists. They waving and honking, and you got to keep your eyes open for them drivers. But yeah, so Charity, you have really given a masterpiece to Mechanicsville, a masterpiece. This is everyone's masterpiece. In so many ways, people get masterpieces and it's only in one house or one person's office. But this is all of Mechanicsville and Atlanta's masterpiece, because this is the route that many of us take to get to Government Square, to City Hall, to the courthouse, to State Capitol, to even downtown. At some point in time, I'm going to see wild seed, wild flower, this masterpiece. And that's a powerful image right here in Atlanta. It tells you everything you need to know about this community. That child is tying someone else's shoe while tying their own, it seems like. Don't get me the interpretation, but that's what I think. Not one or the other, but both, trying to help do something for someone else while doing something for yourself. And we don't have to choose taking care of others instead of ourselves, or taking care of ourselves instead of others. This is thematic for us in Atlanta in what I call a group project. And so when these visitors arrive, whether they're coming for 8 FIFA matches, or whether they're just coming for the fanfare of a summertime in the ATL, or whether after the World Cup is gone and August is here and people are coming here to get back to school, to start at Morehouse, Spelman, Georgia Tech, Georgia State, etc., everybody's going to see this. And so with Wild Seed, Wildflower, we've seen something be planted in this community that will keep growing and changing for generations to come. And so art has long been one of our city's strongest languages, from Elevate to the cultural affairs programs that we have, Elevate Atlanta. Some of these things started way back with Maynard Jackson to all the way now to myself. It has always treated artists as civic partners. You guys are our partners in this, and I'm just thankful. So to the city, to Living Wall, Charity, to this community, all of us, we're working as one, and I'm so proud of this. So when the world arrives, they're going to see one Atlanta, moving Atlanta forward together. So thank you and congratulations to everyone involved. And now I'm going to bring up Monica, who is the head of Living Wall.
All right, and you just heard from Atlanta Mayor Andre Dickens about this mural here. Again, this dedication ceremony happening ahead of the 2026 World Cup. We've been seeing these happen throughout the area, Atlanta working to prepare the city. However, some people are saying that Atlanta is not ready, and we've been hearing people speak out about this, from firefighters to advocacy groups. So a coalition of housing advocates and fire union leaders actually gathered yesterday on the steps of City Hall to warn that Atlanta is not ready for the World Cup. And so these group of advocates and union leaders told city officials that Atlanta is failing to use all available resources as it prepares for a global audience. Mohammed Hafiz, the director of community engagement for the Police Alternatives and Diversion Initiative, stated that the city needs every tool active. Now, advocates specifically pointed to the 311 system as well. Fire Union President Nate Bailey highlighted significant infrastructure concerns here facing the department. Now, according to Bailey, roughly 1/3 of all fire apparatus was out of service when crews arrived to work yesterday morning. The union also reports low morale amongst firefighters due to the ongoing compensation and equipment issues. The fire union is currently suing the city to honor its contract. Let's take a quick listen to Mr. Bailey.
The men and women came in this morning. Roughly 1/3 of all fire apparatus were out of service.
To ensure that we're present in all the neighborhoods of the city, we will be joined each game and during the activation days around the game with approximately 200 to 250 officers from other agencies that will be joining us here in the city.
And you also heard from Atlanta Police Chief Darren Shearbaum, who says the force is ready. and the 911 center has been beefed up. He also stated that 250 officers from other agencies will join the city to ensure coverage in all neighborhoods. Police say those officers will undergo an orientation on policies, including shifting people to diversion centers if needed. What's next here? While the 311 system is typically not open on the weekends, the city says it will be open during the World Cup weekend games. However, Atlanta Fire did not respond to requests for comment regarding the union's specific claims about equipment and morale. Moving forward here, we know that at the Atlanta Beltline and Trees Atlanta are working together here to achieve an ambitious goal. Our Maria Guzman joins us with the latest on this story.
Hey Jasmine, yeah, it continues to be a really warm and sunny day here in the Beltline. I'm actually in the west side trail of the Beltline, and right behind me, right across, that is the offices of Trees Atlanta. And Trees Atlanta is working really closely with the Beltline for a really cool and ambitious project, and that is to expand the Beltline arboretum. And right now they're about a 12-mile mark, and I did speak to the conservation director who tells me about why this is so important to bring into the Beltline, and also just summer expansions just in time for the World Cup. So let's go ahead and take a listen.
I would describe an arboretum as a living tree museum. You know, it's going to show a lot of different types of trees. Usually there's signs that, you know, or some kind of guides that people can understand what they're seeing, and it's just a living showcase to show, you know, what can grow in an area, what kind of cool trees are out there, and to hopefully showcase sustainable landscape practices in our case.
And why invest a lot of effort and money into a project like this to bring into Atlanta and to also develop?
I think it makes the Atlanta Beltline as a trail unique to have an arboretum along its entire length, basically. There's a lot of other multi-use trails around Atlanta and in other cities, and none of them really to this extent, you know, plant and landscape along it and have an arboretum along it to where it's this embedded in, you know, the landscape.
Yeah, where are we so far in this project? I know the arboretum has been it's been something that you guys have been working on, so where are we right now?
So we're almost 20 years in, since at least the inception, and since construction, more about 15, 16 years in. Lengthwise, right now the arboretum, we say, is at 12.5 miles out of the 22, so a little over half. In time for the World Cup this summer, there's going to be some more that opens up, so we'll be up to 16.7 miles, and the arboretum's kind of following closely after that. Sometimes we plant after it's open, and by the time all is said and done in 2030, it'll be the full 22 miles with trees.
Yeah, and actually just last month, the Beltline Arboretum was recognized as the world's longest linear arboretum. So just a really cool, interesting fact. And also it just puts really Atlanta in the international scale. And a lot of visitors are definitely going to stop here this summer. So I'm going to continue walking, enjoying my stroll here, and I'll send things back to you guys in the studio.
Yeah, thanks so much for bringing this to our attention. Some good news for the Atlanta Beltline, and you enjoy your walk for the rest of the day. It looks beautiful outside and it feels great. Thanks, Maria. Your time is at 2:39. When we return, we'll take a look at some of your national headlines like the Iran war. We know that ceasefire deadline looms. It ends today. So what's next? We'll tell you after the break. Welcome back to Fox 5 News Live. I'm Jasmine Cornell, where we're streaming here on Fox Local and some of your favorite social media sites like TikTok and YouTube. Remember, this is a news conversation, so if you have any questions or comments, feel free to weigh into this conversation. Let's talk about the war between the U.S., Israel, and Iran. So the big question this afternoon, will Iran participate in additional peace talks with the U.S. as the U.S. Navy continues to block Iranian ports? U.S. Central Command posted a video showing blockade enforcement, which is a key sticking point here that could lead to Iran refusing to meet. In Pakistan, heavy security in anticipation of what headlines there advertise as round 2 of talks. Former CIA Director General sees incentives for both sides to cut a deal. And President Trump sounds confident, telling Axios, quote, "I feel fine about it. The concept of the deal is done. I think we have a very good chance to get it completed." But there are plenty of complications here, including reports of infighting amongst Iranian negotiators. And back on Capitol Hill, Democrats plan to keep pushing to end the war. Now, one Senate Democrat is promising to try to force another war powers vote today to limit the president's authority. And we know the ceasefire deadline ends tonight at 8 p.m. And President Trump has said he does not plan to extend it. So we'll see what comes out of this and if that war powers vote happens today. Moving forward, ahead of the ceasefire deadline approaching here, House Republicans held a press conference earlier today. Let's take a quick listen to what they said.
Well, good morning, everyone. Last week, Americans saw the result of Republican policy. Let's just talk about the facts for a second. 53 million taxpayers claimed at least one new tax deduction. The average person got a refund of $3,400, an 11% jump from last year. And 30 million workers kept every cent that they paid in taxes on overtime. That makes a difference, folks. And I bring it up again because it's the perfect example of what we're dealing with. Every single Democrat voted no on these tax cuts. That's because, and I say it every week, every single Democrat voted to raise your taxes. Every single Democrat thought that the government was a better steward of that $3,400 that you brought home than you were. Republicans think you actually are a better steward of your money. But think about it. That's crazy what the Democrats are doing. Meanwhile, every Republican voted for you to keep more of your money. It's a simple contrast. That's just common sense. Now, I know that even with bigger refunds, many families are struggling right now. And I get it. But we also owe it to the American people to be honest about how we got here to make sure we don't ever go back again. So let me be candid and let me refresh everybody's memories. We are digging out of a hole. The Biden administration killed the Keystone Pipeline when? Day one. Day one, the Biden administration killed the Keystone Pipeline. Then the Biden administration made it harder to drill, baby, drill. They cut our energy supply. They cut off our permits, and they drained our strategic reserves.
You just heard House Republican leaders speaking. They were talking about taxes, but during this news conference, they did discuss the Iran war and President Trump's agenda as well. We also know that House Democrats also held a news conference today criticizing Trump over the Iran war and several other policies. Let's take a quick listen to that.
Good morning.
Morning.
Donald Trump and House Republicans know the American people are suffering under their leadership. Gas prices remain at record high levels, grocery costs are increasing every day, and healthcare costs continue to skyrocket. After Trump promised an economic golden age to bring down costs on day one, Hardworking people have seen their wallets get lighter as a result of him in office. And now Republicans are twisting themselves into knots, trying to explain the economy is actually doing well, telling the American people not to believe their own eyes, not to believe their utility bills or their bank accounts. We all watched as the president repeatedly called the affordability crisis a hoax. Well, now he's saying the inflation Americans are dealing with is fake. The spin that we are seeing out of this administration is not just unbelievable or laughable. It shows that they don't trust the American people. It's clear that the only constituents Republicans are in touch with are their own billionaire donors. And it's no wonder why the NBC poll found 2/3 of Americans disapprove of Donald Trump's handling of inflation. Americans are smart people. They don't believe the lies that Trump is telling them. They trust their own experiences. While Republicans continue to ignore and even exacerbate the affordability crisis, Democrats are doing everything in our power to lower the costs that people face. This Congress, we've used the few tools that we have to pass 4 discharge petitions. When we take the majority, we'll continue to be laser focused on delivering results for the American people and driving down the costs that Americans face. Vice Chair Ted Lieu.
Thank you, Chairman Aguilar. February 25th of this year, Transportation Secretary Duffy posted a picture of Trump's cabinet and arrogantly boasted best cabinet since 1776. In less than 2 months, 3 of those cabinet secretaries are gone. Pam Bondi, Kristi Noem, and now Lori Chavez de Reamer. I note that Lori Chavez de Reamer can now join Kristi Noem at a fake position at the Shield of the Americas. The reality is that this cabinet's out-of-control incompetence and corruption have made it the worst cabinet since 1776, and Kash Patel is next. Kash Patel flew on taxpayers' dime to the Olympics, and on taxpayers' dime partied and drank at the Olympics. He's also instilled a culture of fear at the FBI, and he lied about the Epstein investigation when he said that there was no credible evidence that Epstein trafficked any victim to third parties. There's mountains of such evidence. And then this past week, the Atlantic put out an article that shows that Kash Patel appears to be a raging alcoholic. He should not be FBI director. He should go seek help and treatment. Chairman Aguilar is right that the American people are suffering from a cost of living emergency. Inflation is up, grocery prices are up, gas prices are up. The Consumer Sentiment Index hit the lowest ever in its 74-year history. But you know who's doing really well? Trump and his family. According to a report from Democrats on the House Oversight Committee, Trump and his family have made over $9 billion in his presidency. The corruption in this administration is out of control, and we saw again last week that there were suspiciously timed market trades right before Donald Trump made statements relating to the Iran war. And this is not the first time it has happened. Media reports have now analyzed this and said that these trades look awfully suspicious. And the only people who would know what Donald Trump is about to say before he says it are people close to Trump. So I call on the SEC to do an investigation into all these suspiciously timed market trades. And if they do not, I guarantee you a future administration will prosecute these criminals.
Questions? Nick?
I wanted to ask about DHS. Just, 20 minutes or so ago up here, Speaker Johnson was saying that, now the Republicans are moving on a reconciliation bill for DHS. Democrats aren't getting anything for, withholding their votes on the funding bill. Do you think that's the case?
And you just heard from House Democrats there, and they did mention the Secretary of Labor leaving the Trump administration, that is, one of a handful of officials who have left or been fired recently. Let's move forward and talk about Virginia. So voters there are heading to the polls. Those residents are voting in a high-stakes special election that could have major impacts on the balance of power in the U.S. House. So it has to do with a controversial proposal here that would allow the state legislature to temporarily redraw Virginia's congressional districts. And if a new map is approved by Virginians, it could give Democrats a 10-to-1 advantage in the House. Republicans have criticized the move as a power grab, but Democrats argue they're just doing exactly what Republicans are doing in other states. President Trump is urging voters to reject, quote, blatant partisan power grab is what he's calling it by Democrats. The polls there close at 7 tonight, and we'll see what happens in this election there that has national impacts. Moving forward now, the Education Department is proposing new rules aimed at holding colleges and universities more accountable. Take a listen to this. So they want them to be more accountable for student outcomes. It is a part of the Trump administration's push to overhaul higher education. For many Americans, graduating with 4 degrees, the transition is not easy. And you know this if you've been in this situation. Finding a job out of college can be difficult. So an Education Department proposed rule would cut off access to federal student loans for programs whose graduates earn less than a typical high school graduate, who earn less money, that is, than a typical high school graduate. Undersecretary of Education Nicholas Kent, he's telling us, quote, the Trump administration's proposed accountability framework is grounded in common sense. If post-secondary education programs do not leave graduates better off, taxpayers should not have to subsidize them. And so federal student loan debt is near $1.7 trillion. One expert saying with the cost of college approaching $100,000 a year at some private schools, this makes a lot of sense. The Trump administration says it does want to make stronger the return on investment for both students and taxpayers amid concerns that some debt has left students worse off. Your time is 2:53. When we come back, we'll have some lighter headlines. We've been talking about a lot of heavy news. So we'll talk about some food and Walmart and Mario. Welcome back to Fox 5 News Live. Your time is 2:56. I want to bring you some good news here. If you are a fan, a major seafood fan that is, you might like this story here. So a major seafood chain, you see it on your screen, Red Lobsters, is planning to bring back a popular all-you-can-eat deal after facing financial hardship. And I'm pretty surprised that they're doing this here because of the financial hardship it faced after this endless shrimp deal. So yesterday it said it is reviving this endless shrimp deal. This comes after the company declared bankruptcy in 2024 with a promotion that is cited as one of the main reasons behind it. However, Red Lobster executives say they have since been receiving many requests to relaunch this deal, but this time around the chain says the offer will only be available for a limited time at select locations. The deal will start at $25 in some areas, an uptick from the original $20 all-you-can-eat shrimp deal that started back in 2023. The promotion is available for dine-in only and will not be offered on holidays, which is very interesting here. And the company says it's making progress since its bankruptcy, and the new endless shrimp deal will be a positive for the business this time around. So very interesting that they're bringing this back. I know that new CEO kind of revamped things, brought the seafood boil, and people loved that. So hopefully this works out in their favor. Remember, there's a catch here to this new endless shrimp promotion coming back. It is going to cost you a little more, and it will only be offered in select locations and not on the holidays. But something to keep in mind if you love Red Lobster and enjoy those Cheddar Bay biscuits. All right, guys, your time is 2:57. When we return, we'll have your top headlines.
And good afternoon, everyone. Thanks so much for sticking with us for Fox 5 News Live at 3 o'clock. I'm so glad you're here. This is a news conversation. We are live streaming on all of our social media platforms, including Fox Local, TikTok, YouTube, and of course, Facebook. We're so glad you're here. Join us in the comments. This is, as I said, a news conversation. We do want to hear from you as we talk about the top stories that are going on right now. And one of the big things we are following is out of Cobb County. I want to see if we can take the shot that we have coming in from there. Here's what we do know at this hour. A manhunt is underway in Cobb County after police say an officer fired his weapon at a man wanted for murder. You're looking live at the scene. You can see the intersection there says Windy Hill Road. It looks like police have closed off that area as they are now searching for a wanted murder suspect. Investigators say that man pointed a gun at an officer, then ran and has not been found. It looks like a SWAT officer is out there along with a number of units as they are investigating what exactly is going on. So we're following that story. We are also following something else that is breaking right now, and that is a news conference that just got underway at the Atlanta Police Department headquarters, where officers are expected to detail a recent narcotics investigation, including a search warrant, arrests, and getting some evidence. That's Atlanta Police Chief Darren Shearbone. Let's listen in.
Gangs, guns, and drugs. Those influences on violence crimes are uniquely in our charge. And from 2022 to 2025, this department has arrested 492 known gang members and charged them with the gang statute in this city. We recovered 12,821 guns and taken them off the street. And we have shut down 301 unique drug dealing operations. That was just 2022 to 2025. We're here today to tell you about the 30th drug operation that we shut down in Atlanta, Georgia just this year. And that is our commitment. Individuals that intend to do actions, take actions that will increase the chances of gun violence in Atlanta, Georgia, will meet their police department. And they're going to meet their police department with our federal, state, and regional partners. And I do want to thank Sheriff Labatt for his unit's key support in the warrant you're getting ready to hear about, and the Department of Agriculture, which assisted us in this effort. And to give more insights into what occurred this weekend, how we have reduced the chances of gun violence in our city, I'm going to bring Chief Spann to the podium. And before I do so, I just want to thank all the members of the Atlanta Police Department, those that are behind your cameras, those that are behind me, and those that are watching on this stream. I appreciate you all. I see the difficult and dangerous work you do each and every day for our city, and I'm proud to stand here to represent your work today. Chief Spann.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Deputy Chief Princina Spann of the Criminal Investigations Division. In this division, we house the violent crime interdiction section amongst the major crime, property crime section, as well as our special enforcement section. Our violent crime interdiction section consists of our narcotic unit amongst others. But specifically today, we're here to talk about the great work of the narcotics unit. So first, I would like to give a special thank you to the Department of Agriculture for assisting us, as well as Fulton County Sheriff's Office, and certainly last but not least, but the men and women of the Atlanta Police Department, inclusive of first the narcotics unit, our intel analysts who are able to provide real-time updated information to our units that were on scene, our Apex unit, Zone 1, Zone 5, our property crime section, again, our violent crimes interdiction section, Zone 6, our property section, special operations section, as well as our special events division. And I'll let Lieutenant Smith get into exactly what occurred this past weekend at 275 Ted Turner.
Thank you, Chief. Thank you, Chief. Today, we're going to talk about Operation No Smoke. Lead you guys over here to the camera so we can start this video. So on April 18th, we executed a search warrant at 275 Ted Turner. This investigation began in February of 2026 from a tip regarding large-scale marijuana events transpiring in our city. On April 18th is the day that we decided to go ahead and take down this operation. As you can tell in this video, this is when we were first making our approach towards the location. It should be also known that we had 1 hour, approximately 1 hour, to make this happen. Upon our arrival on this scene, we had plenty of customers, about 18, that was lined up for this event before the event started. At this time, we were able to get those customers off the scene and safely away from the scene. At this point, we began to identify the difference between the vendors and the customers. What we noticed was the vendors ran back inside the location and they barricaded themselves inside. Shortly thereafter, a ton of people started running out the backside of that warehouse. So now we have what you guys are seeing. We have approximately 70 plus people running from the location, jumping on top of roofs, jumping over fences, running on the railroad tracks. All this because of this event that they planned. Meanwhile, while they're running, they're also throwing guns on the ground. They are, as you see them right here, they got bags. They're throwing guns. They're throwing bags full of drugs, gummies, raw marijuana. These are just some of the things they're doing. They're jumping out the back. It was a chaotic scene that we were able to control. So what we did, we deployed our officers all around that building, and we began to try to corral these people. Like this young man right here, he was running, he hurt himself while he was running away from the scene. He twisted his ankle. We got him medical attention and took him into custody. We had limited injuries while on scene. Only one person hurt their leg and one person hurt their ankle running away from the police. We was able to render them aid and charge them if necessary. These are some of the people that we rounded up. Altogether, we were able to total up 64 people. 64 people were detained and brought back to the scene. This is just some of the video of those people coming back to the scene. We were able to get additional resources out on scene. Zones 5 and 6, and also Zone 1 were very instrumental in ensuring that we had enough coverage and resources to get these people back. What you see right here is our entry team, Apex. They do most of our entries between Apex and SWAT. These guys just made entry into the warehouse. It was 69,000 square feet when they went into this warehouse with people hiding on 2 different levels. Apex was able to go in safely, make the scene safe, and secure the additional people that was hiding inside. It took Apex approximately 2 hours to clear this warehouse. So you'll see them being very tactical on their approach. They had to make entry into this warehouse because they, like I told you guys earlier, they barricaded themselves in this warehouse and then tried to flee out the back. This is the view. Well, this is the view inside. At this point, we're kind of trying to add up some of the properties, some of the dope, all the different baggies. We encountered so much, like I said, a ton of marijuana. It was over 1,200 pounds of marijuana. We also encountered multiple, 24, we identified, once we got inside and started processing the scene, we identified 24 vendors that were selling inside of this, selling marijuana, illegal substances inside this thing. And it broke down to be 1,200 pounds of raw marijuana, 391 pounds of THC edibles, 29 pounds of mushrooms, and we were able to recover 15 guns, and we locked up 40 total people. 37 went to jail, 3 got copy of charges. This operation, it was important. You know, we were able to get gummies. We have dolls that have marijuana, sometimes fentanyl, inside of the dolls that kids can play with. We also have packaging material that looks like Skittles, but they could be ecstasy pills. We have mushrooms that look like gummies, chocolate bars that are made with mushrooms and THC edibles. These things are the kids can get into if they're not being careful. So we were able to take a lot of these narcotics off the street. And I'm very proud of my team. My team, the only way I can describe my narcotics team, I got a team full of dogs. That's the best way to describe them. A team full of dogs, male and female, that go out here every day and try to make the community safer to take these drugs out the street. We appreciate the mayor's office, our executive command, because they give us the power and the pleasure to go out and do what we love to do every day, which is take these drugs off the street. So like I say, I just really want to thank my team.
Georgia Tech graduates, so it's for only time you overhear him give a shout out to the dogs, okay? But anyways, he makes that analogy there.
So let's talk about what we have in the room.
Yeah, so these are not just trash bags that you see behind us. This is actually what was described in the video over the 1,200 pounds of raw marijuana, the 391 pounds of different edibles, packaged differently. Some of them were in Skittle bags. Some of them will look like Rice Krispie treats. Some of them look like candy bars. 29 pounds of mushrooms. And then, of course, the 15 guns that you see seized here. This is what we know that our community would be most proud of, that these 15 guns won't be disturbing a family tonight or won't be disrupting anyone's sleep tonight. So we're very appreciative of that.
And we're going to give you all this PowerPoint, and we will correct the misspelling of C's, but you all will have this PowerPoint. Now we'll take questions. We're going to start on my far left.
Yeah.
Come down.
That's right. You guys described this as a marijuana event. What is a marijuana event?
So unfortunately, we had organizers that decided from 11 different states to come to the city of Atlanta to put together a marijuana event to sell all different type of strands and brands in our city. That's what this marijuana event was.
Are those folks wholesalers? Are they conducting legitimate business in their home state and then choosing to come over here and?
You know, that's a good question.
The criminals here, sir.
Yeah.
So whatever they were in their state, they're a criminal in our state. Marijuana's still illegal.
I guess my question is, in the video I saw branding and tents with brands and logos on them. It seems like a big operation.
They may have
more
been
than just a criminal enterprise.
They may have been branding. There were certain brands and different strands of marijuana, but it's illegal in the state of Georgia. And definitely in the city of Atlanta, and we take it seriously with marijuana events, pop-ups, and takeovers. We don't like having those in the city.
And what exactly was this space? Because I've seen online and a flyer for a little Yachty concert that's happening at the same address. Can you all explain what the nature of this exact address is?
We know this address to be an event space. There is not. It's an event venue, so we have different people who rent that space for various events.
Did the owner seem to know what was going on inside the space?
That I'm not sure. We did arrest the organizer of the event, and so we're not sure if the person who rented that space knew or not.
What tipped you off about this?
The very fine citizens in the city of Atlanta. And on that note, I'm glad you said that. Anytime somebody sees illegal activity or narcotics being presented or sold in their community, please call Crime Stoppers so we can investigate that and try to bring that to an end.
The results speak for themselves, but sometimes people are going to say, well, okay, marijuana is not legal here, but it's legalized around the country. A lot of places, big deal, marijuana. Can you reiterate that just because it's just marijuana, you guys got guns, other things too, right? There's other criminal activity. It's not just marijuana.
Some can argue marijuana is a gateway drug. So is alcohol. So is tobacco. This could be a gateway. People can argue that all those could be gateway drugs. I worked 4 years in homicide, dealt with a lot of overdoses. I've also dealt with a lot of people that had bad trips off mushrooms. Had a couple homicides based upon people taking bad mushrooms. In this case in point, we had 30 pounds of mushrooms. Well, we was expecting 1,400 people to attend this location. All it takes is one bad trip, somebody to take one bad mushroom with an automatic weapon to take out a whole bunch of people in a room. So that's how important this is.
Yeah, I do. I want to speak. I appreciate that question because right now we're fortunate that we're seeing a third-year reduction in homicides and our shootings in our city, but we're still having too many. And when we look at what is motivating homicides in Atlanta, Georgia, there is the domestic violence, there's the escalating disputes, and then there's a connection back to the drug trade, and it's generally marijuana. The 18th Street shooting, not about a month ago, that individual was shot during a marijuana deal, drug deal gone bad. In my neighborhood in Midtown on Peachtree Street, 4 individuals shot on an elevated floor. That was a dispute over marijuana. And so we attack the things that we know that if untouched by law enforcement will breed violence in our city. And marijuana is illegal in our city. It says it's illegal in our state. The wholesale distribution of it leads to violence. People are eventually going to come for the product or they're going to come for the proceeds. And there's going to be a gun attached to either defending it or taking it. And it's this team's job to disrupt that. They've done a phenomenal job over the last 4 years. Very proud of them. And so we're just here to put people on note. It's illegal, it's dangerous, and it was mentioned earlier, a lot of this was marketed that a child would pick it up and use it and consume it, not realizing it's something that could cause harm to them.
Just one other thing, the organizers didn't seem like they were really trying to conceal what they were doing. I saw posts on social media. Are you familiar with the organizers? Have they been here in the past? Is this an event that is like annual or quarterly? Like
this event was they tried to do a good job of planning to keep us away from this event, but my detectives did a very good job of figuring it out. Like I told y'all earlier, we had 1 hour to get to the location and figure out and dismantle this drug trafficking event. So they try to do a good job of masking the location and their strategies, but my detectives did a better job.
All right, any more questions?
You said you were noticing the difference between the vendors and the customers. Are customers, regular folks, are they facing charges in this?
No, this event was shut down before it started.
Okay.
So it was all vendors.
And then is it y'all's belief that the folks who were going to attend this event, were they looking to acquire marijuana for personal use, or do you think that there were possibly some dealers and distribution happening out there as well?
It was a for all sale. Everybody was selling marijuana. You had people that want to consume it personally, or maybe buy large sums of it to go out to the communities and sell it to their communities, because it was all different strands from all over the country. Like I said, we're dealing with almost 11 different states where some of these people were from. So that's the magnitude of this event.
All right, well, with that being said, we will post the PowerPoint on the website, and you'll have it there, so you can use it in your shows.
And you have been listening to an Atlanta Police news conference on their operation called Operation No Smoke. They were just announcing the results there for the FCC's marijuana, along with mushrooms as well. That news conference just wrapping up as you were listening to there. So obviously a lot of people seeing in the comments, people questioning why they were going after things like marijuana and things like that. Essentially, they were saying it can be a gateway drug, and it was important to be able to get that off the streets. So we're going to have much more coming up on Fox 5 News at 4, 5, and 6, and of course right here on Fox Local. But continuing on this Tuesday afternoon, if you have stepped outside, it feels pretty good out there. It's a little warm if you're in the sun, but let's get a check of the forecast with Fox 5 Storm Team meteorologist Jonathan Stacy. Hey, Jonathan.
Let the trend begin. We're back above average once again today, so we'll fill these boxes with red as we go through the remainder of the week, adding to this basically above average trend that really kicked off the month of April. And there have been some dips in time over the past couple of weeks, but by and large, temperatures have been trending warmer than average, and today is no exception. Out of the 70s into the lower 80s we'll go. We'll move in some clouds overnight. Those clouds should not give way to any shower activity. A random or isolated cell may pop up somewhere across middle Georgia, trying to sneak into East Georgia before tomorrow's all said and done. But I think we're going to stay dry until we get into the weekend. As we go to bed Wednesday, waking up on a Thursday morning, you'll find temperatures that are going to be fairly mild. We're looking at numbers starting out in the mid to upper 50s, and we're bound for the 80s with each passing day. Now, the model is a bit robust here in suggesting that there could be some rogue shower activity, but I just don't really see it panning out. I think that our best chance for rain comes Saturday. We're going to hold on to rain chances into Sunday, and then the skies stay wide open into the week to come. And that is music to our ears, especially after the drought that we've been through. We're not going to exactly outright bust the drought with this next round of rain coming through, but this is going to start to help us bring the deficit down. And I think they can start as early as maybe Saturday morning. Look at this wall of water crossing over the Georgia-Alabama state line. For those of you out west, you stand the best opportunity to get some sizable rainfall, maybe up to 2 inches or a little bit more. That shield of moisture continues to ride across the area, and it basically camps out over us for the day Saturday. Maybe the hope of stepping outside, getting something done on Sunday, as the activity will be a bit on and off and undecided in nature. A lull in the activity during parts of the day on Monday, but then a second wave moves through, and that impacts the latter part of the day Monday going into Tuesday. So we are about to change the regime here. We're dry and warm with low humidity for the next 3-4 days to come. And then we're going to bring in multiple rounds of rain starting Saturday, continuing into next week. And there could also be a few rumbles of thunder, but by and large, not a great opportunity for severe storms.
Yeah, good news that there's not going to be severe storms, but obviously the weekend's going to be a little wet.
Well,
but
good
we've
morning,
learned in the past that is something that obviously is going to be needed. We are a huge drought right now. We still have a lot more ahead on Fox 5 News Live at 3 o'clock. We're going to be checking in on some breaking news and also give you your top headlines. We're back after this. 3:22 on this Tuesday afternoon. Thanks so much for sticking with us for Fox 5 News Live at 3 o'clock. I am so glad you're here. Some of our top headlines we're following. We're going to take you to Virginia right now, where residents are voting in a high-stakes special election that could have major impacts on the balance of power in the United States House of Representatives. It all has to do with a controversial proposal that would allow the state legislature to temporarily redraw Virginia's congressional districts. If a new map is approved by Virginians, it could give Democrats a 10-to-1 advantage in the House. Republicans have criticized the move as a power grab, but Democrats argue they're just doing exactly what Republicans are doing in other states. President Trump is urging voters to reject a, quote, blatant partisan power grab, end quote, by Democrats. Polls there close at 7 o'clock tonight. It'll be really interesting to see how obviously this unfolds there, that vote, and we'll keep you updated throughout the week as we obviously get that vote tallied. We'll let you know what happens tomorrow. And continuing on this Tuesday afternoon, we're going to be talking about the Education Department. It's proposing new rules and aimed at holding colleges and universities accountable for student outcomes. It is part of a Trump administration push to overhaul higher education. For many Americans, graduating with a four-year degree is not easy, and Education Department's proposed rule would cut off access to federal student loans for programs whose graduates earn less than a typical high school graduate. Secretary of Education Nicholas Kent tells us, quote, the Trump administration's proposed accountability is a framework is grounded in common sense. If post-secondary education programs do not leave graduates better off, taxpayers should not subsidize them. That was the quote from the Secretary of Education. Federal student loan debt is nearing $1.7 trillion. That's a heck of a lot of money. One expert says with the cost of college approaching $100,000 a year at some private schools, this makes a lot of sense. Let's take a listen.
At least you can know that if your program passes this earnings premium test, that at least it's not going to leave you worse off than you would have been if you hadn't attended the program at all.
For those of us just graduating from college, we've been so excited to have a successful career, knowing that we've invested in our education, and then we're surprised to know that technology has replaced those jobs.
Issue here, according to officials, is higher education is dealing with students leaving high school unprepared, and the Trump administration says it wants a stronger return on investment for both students and taxpayers amid concerns that some debt has left students worse off. Coming back into our newsroom here, another story we're following has to do with, I believe I just hit the wrong thing there. We're talking about Kash Patel, who has a scathing report in the Atlantic, has alleged the FBI director, Kash Patel, has a drinking problem and is unprofessional at work. Patel says he is going to sue for defamation. It's not the first time his behavior has been called into question, and now Democrats in D.C. are calling for his resignation. The Atlantic also claimed Patel is often absent from work or, quote, away or unreachable. It cited more than 24 anonymous sources in its report and called his alleged behavior a potential threat to national security. The White House, the Department of Justice, and Patel denied the allegations on Sunday Morning Futures, which is on Fox Business. Patel called the article fake and baseless, and now Democratic lawmakers say Patel needs to resign immediately, and he is deeply unqualified for his position, according to Democratic lawmakers. Patel's lawyers accuse the Atlantic of defamation, as we've mentioned, and acting with malice. A spokesperson for the magazine said it stands behind its reporting. So you may be wondering, how much is he suing for? According to the lawsuit, $250 million. Let's talk about that mass shooting out of Louisiana, Shreveport, where 8 children were killed over the weekend. Well, family members are now speaking out after that tragic shooting in Louisiana. While local and federal officials display widespread support, pain and heartache is still lingering across the Shreveport, Louisiana area following Sunday's violent massacre in which 8 children were shot and killed. The suspect who did this allegedly killed 7 of his own children. And police say the shooter, identified as 31-year-old Shamar Elkins, is killed not only his children but also a nephew in an attack spanning across 2 homes. The children ranged in age from 3 to 11 years old. Elkins' wife, the children's mother, and another woman were also injured in the attack. Brother-in-law Troy Brown, the father of the shooter's 10-year-old nephew who died in the assault, is providing new insight into Elkins' struggles leading up to the incident. Let's take a listen to a portion of what he said.
They were going through a divorce. She had filed for a divorce for infidelity. And
At the beginning of the paperwork, he couldn't, it was like it was stressing him out.
Gunko, are you okay? I'm never gonna hear that again.
You can hear the heartbreak there as he's now dealing with the loss of his child. And as this community grapples in the aftermath, the Louisiana governor announced his wife's nonprofit, the Love One Louisiana Foundation, will cover all the funeral costs for the 8 kids. And as this community grapples in the aftermath, obviously this is just incredibly tragic. Shreveport is a tight-knit community, and to have to deal with something like this domestic situation, 8 beautiful kids now lost their lives in this. Truly just absolutely tragic situation there, and that community obviously in mourning at this hour. Another story we're following has to do with at least 11 scientists have died. You may have heard about this or gone missing. So 11 scientists have died or gone missing since 2022. And some believe foreign interference is a likely explanation. Meanwhile, President Trump announced a new federal investigation last week, spearheaded by the FBI, into the deaths and disappearances. A number of the scientists were employed at the Los Alamos National Laboratory and the National Nuclear Security Administration, which are linked to U.S. nuclear programs. The scientists had high-level security clearances, and even President Trump is questioning if the cases could be related. The White House says, quote, no stone will be unturned, and promised a transparent investigation into this. It's going to be interesting to see how all of this plays out, and of course we will let you know what happens. Let's take you out to Los Angeles, to California. Singer David has pleaded not guilty to the murder of a 14-year-old girl that went missing last year. According to police, the remains of Celeste Rivas Hernandez were found dismembered inside of the singer's Tesla. The 21-year-old, whose legal name is David Burke, was charged with first-degree murder and other charges in her death. Hernandez was last seen by her family in 2024 and was last known to be alive in April 2025. Her body was found in September. After his arrest last week, Burke's lawyers and attorneys vowed to fight the charges, saying he was innocent, but he officially was charged yesterday by the district attorney's office in California in that area, and obviously he subsequently pled not guilty. The news continues here on Fox 5 News Live at 3 o'clock. In just a moment, we're going to try to get you an update on that manhunt in Cobb County for a suspected murder suspect who police apparently opened fire on this afternoon. Well, the very latest next at 3. And welcome back to Fox 5 News Live at 3 o'clock. We're so glad you're sticking with us. We want to get back to that breaking news we brought to you at the top of this hour. A manhunt is underway in Cobb County for a suspect who has an arrest warrant for murder, is what we're hearing. And apparently police tried to take him into custody today, and that resulted in an officer opening fire. Denise Dillon is standing by live at the scene. Denise, good afternoon to you. You've been out there for a little bit of time. What can you tell us about what's going on and the status of the search?
Yeah, good afternoon. I am right here at Windy Hill and Leland Drive, for those familiar with the area. This is right across the street from the Papados restaurant. That's a landmark in this area. You can see that police have Leland Drive blocked off. There are also police cars up and down Windy Hill. In the past 30 minutes, we have seen SWAT vehicles going up and down Leland and through these two extended stay hotels that are on the left, as well as an apartment complex on the right. Here's what we know happened. Police are saying that just around 1 this afternoon, officers started looking for a man who had a warrant out for murder. Police say he was armed. He pointed his gun at an officer, and that officer fired his gun. The man then took off running, which is leading us to where we are now, this manhunt. At this point, police have not given us a description of the guy or name or the murder he is connected to. We hope to get that information for you as soon as we can. In the meantime, investigators are saying if you see anything suspicious, any people who appear to be suspicious, call police as soon as you can. That's the latest here in Cobb County.
So much for that update. It's a story we've been following since our 1 o'clock stream here. I appreciate you giving us that update. I know you've been talking to folks, and we're going to hear from them when I think you join us on Fox 5 News at 4. We'll see you then. Thanks so much. And as we come back into our newsroom, that is one of the big stories we are following right now. Another one has to do with a story from 2024. So if you've been in the Atlanta area for a bit of time, you may remember this day. Back in 2024, there was a massive fire at a chemical plant on the east side of Atlanta. You're taking a look east side of the metro area out in Conyers. Well, this is the Biolab fire. That smoke plume could be seen for miles in 2024. I remember this day very well. Well, the Supreme Court of Georgia heard oral arguments this morning in a case tied to that massive chemical fire that forced nearby residents to evacuate for weeks. The case centers on claims from people who say they were exposed to chemicals released during the fire and are asking the court to require the company to pay for ongoing medical monitoring. Attorneys for the Biolab argue the request is unprecedented under Georgia law, saying liability typically requires proof of a current physical injury rather than the possibility of future illness. Well, the outcome could have broader implications for how similar exposure claims are handled in the state. This is a story that we have been following since this all broke in 2024. We had multiple reporters covering this. Aone Mapp was at the Supreme Court today listening to the hearing, and afterwards she was able to speak to the victim's attorney. Let's take a listen to what he told her.
Try and fight for victims. I know this would be a first in Georgia, but it's needed, and it's needed now. So our fingers are crossed. I think the arguments were great. I think the justices' questions were on point. And look, we'll just have to wait their decision.
So that is a story we are following. Aone Mapp will join us on Fox 5 News at 4, 5, and 6 to give us the very latest on the situation there. Obviously, the residents who live nearby are obviously hoping that they can get some of their medical expenses paid for, and we will hear from her when we see her in just about a half hour or so on our next hour of news. As we come back into our newsroom here, we want to continue on. This is a story that makes you say, what the heck? Truly. A man is in custody accused of exposing himself to at least 2 women yesterday afternoon at Old Mill Park in Roswell. Well, if you're not familiar with the area, Old Mill Park is considered a refuge where people escape daily stress to enjoy nature, but that peace was obviously interrupted by an alleged man who was exposing himself around 2:30 yesterday afternoon, so 25 hours or so ago. And a victim told Fox 5 the man exposed himself near a trail marker, VC19, if you're familiar with the area. Well, Roswell police helped find the man. That's some good news. And the department confirmed the incident took place on National Park Service grounds within the Chattahoochee River National Recreation Area. So, when we heard about this, we immediately sent one of our reporters out there, and they spoke with regular visitors who said they were shocked at the news. I want you to listen to what they had to say.
It's absolutely disturbing to know that men are walking around here feeling like it's okay to expose themselves, and I just hope that, you know, it's not something that's an ongoing issue.
To be able to come here and enjoy yourself without just seeing crazy things happen. I just don't want to be disturbed by anyone flashing me while I'm here. I should be safe in my community.
Like I can't fathom or try to figure out what would make anyone feel that that's okay. I'm absolutely concerned.
I think those people and park goers are right. They don't want to be disturbed. They want to enjoy the peace and quiet at a park. That's why you go out there. You can see the little waterfall there. That piece was obviously destroyed for some of those people who had to experience this yesterday. As I mentioned, thankfully, that suspect is in custody. But so far, authorities have not released the name of the man who was arrested or the specific charges he faces. It's also unclear if the National Park Service is investigating additional reports from other victims, but that is something that we're actively working to get more information on. Here's another story we're following, and this one back in the perimeter, this one in the city. Atlanta City Council is passing a measure on ICE activities. So here's what we know. The Atlanta City Council approved 2 measures aimed at addressing how immigration enforcement activities are handled within the city, including oversight of local cooperation and opposition to detention facilities. The first measure formally declares the council's opposition to warehouses or other facilities used to detain immigrants within Atlanta. Council members say the resolution reflects broader concerns about the treatment and housing of individuals held for immigration-related issues. The second measure establishes new procedures for the city of Atlanta and the police department here regarding documentation and accountability, transparency as well, tied to activities involving U.S. immigration and customs enforcement. The policy is intended to clarify how local officials track and report interactions connected to federal immigration enforcement. And so what are people saying? What are officials saying? City leaders say the measures are designed to increase oversight and ensure residents are informed about how immigration-related actions are conducted locally. So it's going to be interesting to see how all of this plays out. But obviously that's something we are monitoring currently here. Tell you what, let's come back into our newsroom here. We're going to be talking about the FIFA World Cup. We are just a little over 50 days away from the first match here in the city of Atlanta. And what I can tell you, I believe we're talking about the World Cup Entertainment District that was just also approved by the City Council. And so what I can tell you here is that the council yesterday passed an ordinance that would create a public World Cup Entertainment District downtown. So what does this mean? That means fans and people downtown, so anyone, theoretically, can have an open container of alcohol. The new district covers a massive portion of downtown Atlanta, including Mercedes-Benz Stadium, State Farm Arena, the World of Coke, and the Georgia Aquarium. According to the City Council, and the district will officially begin on June 11th, so we're looking at about a month and a half now, and stay in effect through July 19th. So this is a very narrowly tailored entertainment district that is here for the 2026 FIFA World Cup. During this time, cruising is prohibited within the district boundaries. The measure also bans people from giving away or selling free commercial products on the street. And while the original plan included a provision to allow fans to drink in public, Councilmember Jason Dozier removed that portion before the final vote. Dozier said he wanted more time to talk with people living in downtown and Castle Hill communities about what an open container district would mean for them. Despite the last-minute change, Dozier said he thinks the open container rule will eventually pass at a later date, and so that will be obviously very interesting to see. Some cities allow that public drinking, but that will not be allowed in this case, at least for the time being. But they're hoping that can eventually pass to make this in time for the World Cup. So we're following that. That will have big deal here. 8 matches in the city, and obviously that's something we are monitoring. We are going to continue talking about the World Cup, 2026 World Cup here in Atlanta. We know that there's going to be 8 matches here, including a semifinal. In just a few minutes, we're going to check in with my friend and colleague, Angelique Proctor, who's going to be talking about how the city is preparing and whether people think that Atlanta is ready for that. We'll have that when Fox 5 News Live at 3 continues. And welcome back to Fox 5 News Live at 3 o'clock. We're so glad you're here. We are continuing our conversation about the 2026 FIFA World Cup, just over 50 days away from the first kickoff at Mercedes-Benz Stadium for the first of 8 matches in the city of Atlanta. Lots of excitement for that. Businesses are obviously going to benefit from this as well. And one of the things they're doing is trying to beautify the city. And so there is a brand new art and mural dedication that they are doing for the actual World Cup. Today, they debuted one of those new public artworks called Wild Seed, Wild Flower, and it was an artwork done by Atlanta-based artist Charity Hamadullah. Officials say the latest installation reflects the city's continued investment in public art as a powerful tool for storytelling, community connection, and neighborhood vibrancy. So I want you to take a listen to a portion of today's special dedication. You're going to hear from the mayor. Let's take a listen.
All right, thank you, Councilmember Dozier. At wonderful District 4, getting a lot of things done. I've been here a lot of times over the past few months because we've just been cutting ribbons and doing work, and I'm just proud of the collaboration that we have with you and your team and your office in District 4. So thank you for your leadership, and I'm excited to be in Mechanicsville again because we got a lot of stuff going on in Mechanicsville, and I'm just really proud of this moment. It's a great day in Southwest Atlanta, and the sun is shining. It's just kind of, we're on this side of this big wall, so we're on the chilly side of things, but it will warm up throughout the day. To you, Adrian, thank you for your leadership. Thank you to your whole team at the Mayor's Office of Cultural Affairs. You guys have been doing a whole lot over the years, but you are in overdrive right now. Y'all are moving and busy. So I don't even call you about little stuff like some art in my office, Kevin said. I'm not even gonna bug you about stuff. Oh, he's like, you got something coming? All right. I said, hey, man, we're doing big things. I got a little picture I want in my office, but I'm going to wait till after World Cup. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Y'all are doing an awesome amount of work, and the work is quality. And the community rallies around y'all. Y'all give us hope and inspiration and life, not just, we see infrastructure. We got the orange cones to prove that the sidewalks and the roads are getting infrastructure. But people are seeing these murals. They're seeing the social and artistic infrastructure that resonates with our emotions and our love of the city. And I think you guys might feel that too when they honk at you as you're on a scaffold or paintbrushes and you're going around all painted up. This is a group project.
And this dedication today was part of the city's Bridges, Tunnels, and Walls program that they're doing ahead of the 2026 FIFA World Cup. The cool thing here, and I think people should keep in mind, they're doing this obviously ahead of the World Cup, but we're going to get to enjoy it long after all the fans leave from the World Cup. So that's going to be the cool thing. So even if you don't get to take all this stuff in maybe before the first match or during the matches, maybe in August, September, you'll be able to go out there and see some of the stuff that the city is investing in, the public art, and that's going to be really cool. And like that one looks pretty cool with all the colors. And so that dedication was held today in Atlanta. As we come back into our newsroom here, we are continuing our conversation about the 2026 FIFA World Cup. And the question is Atlanta ready? Well, according to some people, some activists, they're questioning whether the city of Atlanta is ready for it. So, of course, we sent our City Hall beat reporter, Angelique Proctor, to investigate and look into it. She's standing by in Atlanta with a look. Hey, Angelique, what can you tell us?
Well, good afternoon to you, Tyler. There is a whole lot of excitement in the air. Even people who are criticizing the FIFA World Cup, or people who are saying Atlanta is not ready, say they're still excited about it. They're excited about soccer. They're excited about the possibilities. And so, yes, the countdown really is on now with less than 2 months. In fact, 55 days, we heard. A lot of people are trying to figure out, is Atlanta ready? Well, the answer to that question is it depends on who you ask. I heard people today actually talking with Atlanta City Council, talking with varying opinions. First, let's go to the video here. This is the Atlanta City Council Community Development and Human Resources Committee. They are having what they call a FIFA World Cup work session. So, like I said, everyone is excited. The Atlanta Sports Council made a presentation. They had a lot of great things to say. The Atlanta Convention and Visitors Bureau both say yes, we are ready. They say the city is on track. They talked about how 21% of the hotel rooms have already been booked, and that is out of about 800,000 hotel rooms. So that the math came out to about 200,000 rooms have already been booked. Some thought that was a little slow, but they say a lot of the FIFA World Cup tickets haven't been released yet. And so they say that people do not book their housing until they get their tickets. They had a lot of great things to say about our transportation plan. They say that is already in place. They talked about Atlanta, DOT, MARTA, and Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport all being ready to go. Take a listen now to the representative for the Atlanta Sports Council, who talked about all of the infrastructure and things that are ready to go.
The infrastructure in downtown, as you know, is coming together. The streets are being paved. There's lighting. We have a sustainability plan in place. And so we're very thankful of where we are in the downtown infrastructure as far as the visitor experience for what people will see and feel and experience when they are here. There's an image on the screen there of Centennial Olympic Park. Really look forward to bringing the park back to life. 30 years removed from the Summer Olympics when it hosted the Centennial Games, to have FIFA Fan Fest in Centennial Olympic Park. The Fan Fest serves as that central gathering point, that real community feel during the tournament. And we can't have a better location than Centennial Olympic Park as far as proximity to the stadium, to the hotels, and to MARTA for residents to come in and participate. This is a free to the public event. It will be ticketed, but it will be free tickets.
But Playfair Atlanta is on the other side. They say they don't believe the city is yet ready. In fact, they say they can't get meetings with the host committee, nor can they get emails returned. They are also complaining, get this, Tyler, that there are not enough bathrooms that will be ready for the FIFA World Cup coming in June. And they say that Atlanta police are, they've got a fear that Atlanta police will be arresting some of the unhoused. And we heard a lot about exactly what they plan to do. The city was saying that they have actually about 400 people that they believe are unhoused in downtown Atlanta. They say at this point they have placed about 450 of them, so they consider that a win. But then some of the council members started asking questions, and they say a lot of those people have moved out to other neighborhoods. And so still a whole lot of discussion around the World Cup, but the bottom line is we've still got time, and everybody is hopeful that things will come together.
There's a lot of excitement surrounding it, so hopefully the preparations and the time we do have, that they can get everything they needed in place. Angelique, thank you so much for the update. As we come back into our studio here, I want to talk about one other thing. This also kind of impacts the 2026 FIFA World Cup, because if you're looking for something to do, maybe when there's not a match day, the Beltline is a good option, especially for all the visitors coming to town who might want to take part in something outdoors, especially if the weather is going to be nice. Well, the Atlanta Beltline and Trees Atlanta are working together to achieve an ambitious goal. So I want to check in with our Maria Guzman to join us with the very latest on what's going on.
It's a beautiful Tuesday and sunny afternoon here in Atlanta. I'm right outside of Trees Atlanta, and Trees Atlanta is a nonprofit organization that really focuses on preserving and protecting the city's urban forests. And they're working really closely with the Beltline and leaders in Atlanta to really expand the Beltline's arboretum. And so I spoke to the conservation director from Trees Atlanta about, one, what is an arboretum, but also why is it so important to have one right here in the heart of Atlanta?
I would describe an arboretum as a living tree museum. It's going to show a lot of different types of trees. Usually there's signs that, or some kind of guides that people can understand what they're seeing, and it's just a living showcase to show, what can grow in an area. What kind of cool trees are out there, and to hopefully showcase sustainable landscape practices in our case.
And why invest a lot of effort and money into a project like this to bring into Atlanta and to also develop?
I think it makes the Atlanta Beltline as a trail unique to have an arboretum along its entire length, basically. There's a lot of other multi-use trails around Atlanta and in other cities, and none of them really to this extent, plant and landscape along it and have an arboretum along it to where it's this embedded in, the landscape.
As you make your way through the Beltline, either by walking or even biking, you're going to come across a lot of plants, a lot of greenery, and a lot of trees. And just last month, the Beltline Arboretum was officially recognized as the longest linear arboretum in the entire world.
We're planting all kinds of different trees, shrubs, perennials, most of them being native, which also helps in that you have a very diverse plant palette that can support a very diverse wildlife. Everything from butterflies to bees and of course birds.
Yeah, we were just talking about how the trees and plants, they make such a big difference. So if there wasn't no trees or greenery in the Beltline, what would it be? So the impact you guys are having in the greater Atlanta area.
Sure, so without trees, we don't have anything making oxygen, and we don't have shade, which reduces the temperature of the sidewalks and the Beltline itself. So trees really provide a lot of shade. They also provide a lot of beauty, which also add to your rest and relaxation. So it actually reduces stress by having tree cover.
The conservation director of Trees Atlanta tells me that although these trees provide a lot of shade during the summer for walkers or bikers, it also helps our ecosystems. It really maintains a lot of the critters and bugs and birds alive. So everyone can win and benefit from all these trees here in the center of Atlanta. So I'm going to continue my walk here in the Beltline, and I'll send things back to you in the studio.
Maria, super jealous of you. I hope you enjoy it, and thanks so much for joining us here on Fox 5 News Live at 3 o'clock. The news continues for Fox 5 News at 4 right after this.